HUDs to win by getting 10k wood and 0 food. He cries inside. This is so easy. Don't cry. You can be cruel to anyone you want. I'm sure there are some people that you would feel guilty about it. No worries, Lola. Go enjoy cooking your lunch. And then bring me some. I'm hungry. If it was more sustainable staying up at this time, I would stream more often at this time, honestly. This is fun. I miss streaming late. I think that, so I'm 99% sure that Captain Weebmaster is going to go for a trust here. I think if HUD's Mars can counter tower well and defend this, I think he has a really strong advantage. I personally don't love Koreans as a civ, especially not on Arabia. But we'll see. Alright. I am on the right overlay, right? Cool, that's a good thing to check, I guess. Oh, Weebmaster accidentally not finishing the first house. Could be a problem, but usually isn't too much of one. You just gotta send one to finish it at some point. I hate when that happens though, because it always throws me off a little bit. In terms of maps though, hello Noobers, how you doing? Look at this for HUD's Mars. Not 1, not 2, but 4 wood lines at the back. Still 2 at the front. The side isn't super open. There is a stone towards the back and a gold at the back. So I think that in terms of defending a Trush, I don't think this is the worst map in the world, but the first tower will likely be able to range the berries and the stone. It will depend on what. It will just kind of depend on what scouting information Captain Weebmaster gets and what strategy he does indeed going up for. Anyone here caught Ruben's stream? Oh, Ruben Stock? I haven't seen Ruben Stock stream, honestly. Just go next after the Trush fails from the Koreans. I'm not allowed to choose whether they end game or not, unfortunately. Yeah, I do agree. Aztecs are one of the stronger picks, I think. If you're expecting a Trush, I feel like they're a good... I just feel like they're a good... Like, it's not so much because of their towers, it's more because of their options. Like, you do a counter tower, you defend decently, and Eagles are so strong. You went into work at 5 AM, Jesus. So Weebmaster luring in the boar now, or elephant I should say. Pretty... Oh, we're gonna see a nice boar. BT won't probably give it a pass. I'll give it a pass. But this one is a little nicer. I feel like the number on the right is always larger. 2 out of 10. What do you rate this one then? From HUD's Mars? That being said, I really like that HUD's Mars. I don't know if he has genuinely scouted that this is the best woodline for him to take. But I really like that he's gone for this woodline. It's one of the most... And look at this, he's even going for pretty early walls here. Like, I think you can justify this. I don't know if I'd wall this side first, personally. I'd probably wall the front a little more first. But yeah, if he manages to get his base fully walled before a Trush comes in, it'd be like playing from a hideout position, which will be really nice for him. The scores at the top. Oh, they are 0-0, right? Okay, cool. Ah, as in this sizing. Ah, I have no idea if it. I feel like they should be the same size. They honestly should be the same size. HUD's Mars is a bit of TC idle time here. Weebmaster lost his scout though. Oh, underneath the TC, I did miss that, unfortunately. So if Weebmaster is going for a trush, he's gonna be lacking quite a bit of vital information here. Not the best elephant lure in the world I've ever seen. So yeah, he got literally all he got out there is where the position of 1 gold is. So if he's got 3 on wood, so he is likely going for a trush. Question is, will he continue to do the trush or will he switch his strategy? So that is definitely gonna hurt Weebmaster a lot. I feel like Hud's Mars now. If he's expecting a trush, I feel like he's still in a good position to defend it because now no scouting information for Weebmaster. And if he's not expecting a trush, he does want to get some scouting information of his own. Let's have a look and see where his scout is. Yep, so good keeping it towards his opponent's base. Wanting to try and be a little more active with his scout if he wants to find out what's happening in Weebmaster's base. GG, well played, go next. You reckon, PT? I've seen far crazier things. 21 pop up with the Koreans. It looks like it's going to be a 22 pop for the Aztecs. So 22 pop men-at-arms into archers. And it's going to be fully walled. Like, I don't know if I'd make it this far forward, but it is a nice cliff to wall to. PT I have, and it doesn't work. It's always a disaster. And oh no, it's still happening, and militia are coming out. Why are the is he going for Drush FC now all of a sudden? Because the barracks seem to be up really late if he was going for Drush FC. Maybe, I don't know, am I going crazy? And the militia, will it scout it? It scouts it! So now all Huzmaz has to do is make sure that he rushes down the first tower or that he is fully walled. That being said, I don't like that he's gone forward here. I mean, Koreans do have extra line of sight in their villages. And that's really obvious here, like... Oh, thank you so much for the gift sub to Moonfall, eh? Very well deserved. And the villagers are coming in. This is gonna get messy very quickly. That being said, if the 3 militia and if Hudsmars decides to vil fight this... Oh, no, there's no loom yet. Oh, he's getting loom now. But with the loom here, and yeah, he's forced off onto this tower. I feel like if Hudsmars went for men-at-arms archers here, I feel like he'd be in a much better position than he is currently, though. I feel like going for Drush FC... I think he has the map for it, but I think it was a little greedy when you're expecting a Trush. Longboats. The first tower will go up over here. Don't think it's the scariest tower for Hudsmars. He is going onto stone, but he's not clicked up yet. What's happening? His macro behind this has not been the best, honestly. So even if he's on stone, thank you for the gift sub to Ruben as well, Noob. It's very much appreciated. Like there's, okay, now he's got the food to go up. He needs to click up this second. He can't. Hudsmars was, in my opinion, a really good position to DQ the villager. You don't want that villager. Oh no. When you're being trushed, you want to get up really, like you want to be up when the towers are being laid. We're gonna see a bit of a quick wall over here. And if I was Hudsmars, I would be taking the back stone rather than the forward stone here. And maybe Mars wasn't expecting the Trush after Weebmaster lost his scouts. But I definitely think this has been a bit of a messy defense against the Trush so far. It can still be stopped by, or the advancement can still be stopped by a tower. But he's nowhere near up to the, like he's still only halfway up to the feudal age and it's 13 minutes and 50 seconds in. Tower's gonna be able to really easily batter down the wall. I probably would actually finish. I'd probably also try and, I'd maybe try and finish these houses and try and wall behind over here as well. So a tower will be dropped here. A tower would probably be going towards this area over here. That still means that Hudsmart still has access to a gold and a stone though. Outpost being dropped for Weebmaster, definitely probably the smartest idea when he is running in without a scout. I feel like if these weren't Korean villagers, he'd be in a much worse position. Just the extra line of sight, not usually coming into play too much, but I feel like here they're actually doing okay. And Hudsmar's gonna deny the tower, but it's just gonna park his villagers over here. Oh, a bit of a bill fight coming in, but they're gonna be pathing towards the tower. Another tower going up for Hudsmar's right in Weebmaster's face. And I feel like this, if he gets this tower up, this denies any further ability for Weebmaster to do damage. Both players' economies looking a little bit in shambles. Hudsmar's dropping a blacksmith and a market currently. Maybe looking at balancing some eco, is floating quite a bit of wood. Bill counts are 30 to 30 though at the moment. Hello Salted, how are you doing? Definitely a messy game one. I feel like Hudsmar's was in a better position than he was in a really strong position and kind of messed up a little bit here. But it does look like he is recovering pretty well. Another 2 towers on this side. I feel like this is a little over-investing. But with fletching, I guess he might try and double down here. Thing is, this tower denies the gold, but he still has access to this back gold. I actually kind of don't like that Hudsmar's was taking the forward ones first. But yeah, that tower, especially with fletching, should be able to range all these villagers off. Oh, this is an interesting, I was gonna say, probably not that, even here is probably a little bit risky. If Weebmaster hops back into this tower, we can actually deny the tower going up. Janissary, Jesus. But yeah, definitely not a bad position to be in as Huds, who's now clicked up to the castle age. I still feel like if you're gonna get this tower up though, you have to like garrison it and take out this tower. And now Weebmaster heading home, gonna get attacked by a lion on the way home. Here, eco behind this isn't terrible, but it's not great either. He's not gonna be up to the castle age until Hudsmar's is likely already in there. Hudsmar's going for fletching here. Not sure if that means he wants to go for archers. I'd like to see some kind of military being made. You are Aztecs, you can build eagles on the way up to the castle age. You can do all sorts. I feel like if you're going for a full defensive play here, I think it might be a bit of a mistake. Okay. Hudsmar's now going over here to this secondary gold that we saw at the back. Scribbler. I love that. Pink eggs. That never happened. I feel like I wouldn't just idle 2 villages. I'd idle a 5, get the tower down, and then get back onto the gold quicker. Oh, okay, we're gonna see that 3 barracks of eagles play. Don't mind it, I think it's a good play here. But I would have liked to see this barracks up a little bit sooner, and building up his numbers on the way up to the castle age. Weebmaster almost on the way up to the castle age. Does have enough stone to possibly do a castle drop. Well, not quite yet, but will have going into the castle age. If Hudsmar's has enough eagles on the field though, I feel like there's almost nothing Weebmaster can do in terms of that line of play. What is this nonsense about pink eggs? On Scribblio, we got the word eggs, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw an egg. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't eaten eggs in like 5 years, but that's beside the point. Eggs are kind of like this. We don't even have white eggs where I've lived in the past. And they're kind of like this pinkish brown kind of color. To me, anyway. So I've had a couple of options of what color I could go for, and I went for the pink. And they were egg shaped still. Let's see if Weebmaster is able to see this barracks. He is able to see this barracks, so he will be ready to expect the eagles coming in at some point. Double range archers coming out for Weebmaster now. I definitely prefer the position that Huds is in. As long as he doesn't keep getting housed. And we're seeing a ram coming out. I'm guessing he's using the ram to clean up the towers. I think that's fine here. Especially as there's no more villagers around to snipe the ram. I mean, PT, my eyesight's actually really bad, but thanks for asking. Basically, Janissary, we have fun here. Hudsmars with significantly less eagle numbers than I'd hope you'd have by this point. And there are 4 eagles over here. There isn't any overchops though that I can see of. So the eagles won't be able to do a whole lot here at the moment. They are +1 defense, so crossbow and bodkin arrow coming in now will mean they can do at least some level of damage. The ram actually taking a lot more damage than I was expecting it to. A large part because the Koreans get free guard tower. The eagles get in, there's a hole! And they path out again because of the crossbowman with bodkin. Yeah, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't trade numbers there either. No +2 defense on these eagles. And there's not any more in the queue. Hudsmars with currently 20 on gold. Definitely needs to sort his economy out a little bit here. Oh, and Weebmaster going for a 1 Vil TC. Okay, he is bringing more over here. But, okay, Hudsmars doesn't currently see it, but if he paths over here and he sees the Vils building this town center, it could be a little bit unfortunate for Weebmaster. Also, something of note is, even though Weebmaster's golds and stones are a little bit back here, like, they are still, like, deniable because they're all in one area. Hudsmar's not even caring. He's just gonna drop the TC right next to a tower here. I feel like I would wait a little bit before placing this TC. And I would definitely be moving some villagers off of gold right now. Hudsmar's not really doing a lot of damage here, regardless. And definitely not enough to have so much eco imbalance currently, in my opinion. 7 on food, even for 3 barracks eagles play, not enough. TC to clean up the towers, 200 IQ. Right, Salted? Yeah, I think so, Frosty Janissary as well. I feel like the Hudsmars macro, or somewhat lack thereof here, has been a little bit surprising here. 51 villagers for Hudsmars, 54 for Weebmaster. Weebmaster adding himself some longswords here. That being said, if these eagles can get a decent engagement on these crossbows, they'll clean them up very easily. And there's no villagers being produced. There's 2 TCs but no villagers. 21 still on gold. I know Aztecs need gold, but I don't think they need gold this badly. That being said, I do think these crossbows will get cleaned up. +2 defense and forging on these. Oh yes, of course, sorry, but I always forget about that. Yes, Weebmaster's actually known in this tournament so far for trushing in almost every game he can. Hudsmars, get some farms down, get some villages off of gold, please. Longswords are a little bit of a pain on your economy, but it doesn't matter if your opponent isn't making much economy or has an imbalanced economy. No houses being dropped that I can see of a third town center going down with neither TC being produced, neither TC being produced out of. I do, however, like this forward siege. This forward siege gives him access to attacking this gold area, and he'll now see that there are things in this barracks. You're mezzo, so you go, okay, I know it's not going to be pikes 99 times out of 100. And you can assume that longswords have been made, so now Hudsmar's in this position. I think, okay, I attack a counter to longswords, and then you don't even really need to attack them too quickly. You can just go for your own longswords. If you don't want to go off of infantry, you can also do crossbows, or you can look. You've almost got enough for a castle, so you can just mix in a few Jaguar warriors as well. And castle being dropped down for Weebmaster, which will deny the pressure from this siege workshop for the moment. Sorry, just 1 second. Do Eagles have all upgrades except for +2 attack, so they even have squires. And Hudsmar's realizing that his economy was getting a little bit unbalanced there, has now started to rebalance his economy. He's getting a forward, well, defensive castle, but like in a forward position here. And the Eagles are getting in! Okay, don't take the fight against the longswords, just run past them. Oh, look at how quickly the longswords eat the Eagles when they engage though. Oh, that's I think 1 or 2 longswords went down, and about 10 Eagles got eaten there. I think it's something crazy like +8 or more attack, extra damage versus Eagles. Wait, let's see if this one engages so we can see exactly how much damage one Eagle does. So one longswordsman does to one Eagle. Oh, so 15 damage, it has 2 armor. That has 2 attack, so 9 damage plus maths. I think it's +7. I can do maths, but not while I'm streaming. That being said, Hudsmar's now has access to all of his base again. And Weebmaster is lacking a lot of food at the moment. We do see Hudsmar's making some monks at home, either to get relics or to send them forward for some conversions. Don't take this fight! Oh no, this is such a bad fight. Especially with Hudsmar's clicking up to the Imperial Age as well. I don't know, maybe he doesn't realize how much of a counter longswordsmen actually are to Eagles, but bit of a disaster there. Just mix in some Jaguars and you'll be fine. Salted, love it. You can get a pass on that pun. Hudsmar's on the way to the Imperial Age, but with 1 army currently. Whereas Weebmaster, even though he doesn't have the most mobile army, he's at least got army on the field. Going for war wagons and longswords will be very expensive, but in the long term could be pretty damn effective here. And it will counter the arbs that I'm guessing Hudsmar's is taking into. Don't imagine we'll see skirmishes for the moment. And will Hudsmar's react to this longsword raid in time? I'm not entirely convinced. Okay, he's just gonna repel it for the moment. I didn't see if Arson came in. Look at how quickly they killed the barracks, so the extra damage is just insane. I really think I would have just liked to see a few... Oh no, it's gonna let the longswords know that there's a way in. Oh, can I try and get some conversions? These villagers will need to run away. Oh, getting a nice 2 nice longsword conversions. Weebmaster looking to drop a castle on this hill by the looks of things. I think Weebmaster gets a castle on this. Oh, he's going for a real forward castle. Okay. I think he should be able to get it up as well. I think if Hudsmar sees this, he goes, okay, I know my opponent's trying to get a castle here. I've got to react somehow, and he can actually buy the castle. If he wants to buy a castle, can actually deny the castle with his own in this kind of area. And okay, Weebm are actually opting to go for the one on the hill here. Actually a nice position. We did see Mars buying the last little bit of stone for this castle. Mars will have the advantage in terms of traps though. I don't know whose position I would want to be in right now. Having almost no army and going up to the Imperial Age, but also having the first trebs out would be really nice in this position, I think.
Okay.
And also, Weebmaster's gonna reinforce his second set of traps from all the way on the other side of the map. Oh, don't feed your crossbows to the castle. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, losing 4 crossbows for free. The traps wasn't actually tasked onto the castle for a strange reason there. We don't see any more traps queued up for Mars currently. I feel like this is like your one advantage. You got to imp first. You get to build the first lot of traps here. I feel like this is being wasted a little bit. 3 traps, okay, 2 traps coming up. Would like to see them split between the 2 castles. But 3 traps, even on the hill, is almost unrepairable damage at that point. I wouldn't say it is completely unrepairable, but it is pretty hard. Don't send your crossbows to die like this. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, it's hard to watch sometimes. And now Captain Weebmaster's position looking much more favorable than it once was. See you later, Ruben Thomas. Now the skirms do deal with war wagons pretty easily, but it's still not ideal because then the long swordsmen still deal with the skirms here. Maybe Jaguar Skirm could be interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that combination before. They'll lose one of the monks, I think, for free there. The castle will go down. This will be a nice position for Huds to reclaim. I do like that Weebmaster kind of abandoned that castle and went for another one. Don't love the position of it. Would like to try seeing him maybe go for a little bit on the hill here if he could possibly. But I do think that trying to set that castle with 3 traps firing at it would have been a waste of stone. Huds Eco. His resource count is now a little more balanced. His skirmishers though they do well against everything except for the long swordsman. You still need something to kill the long swordsman here. I feel like Mars is overestimating the skirmishers here a little bit. And he's still going for more eagles here, going for redemption monks. Do these have Attal? They do have Attal, and these are Castle Age longswords, and they're kind of dying a little quicker than I was expecting them to. 8 damage to 2 armor, so they actually take 8 damage per shot. Honestly, this could work. It shouldn't, but I think it might. Look at them. The Attal skirmishers, and they're firing downhill as well. Although, if I'm Mars here, I do not want to lose these 3 traps, and this is a huge waste of these traps. Going down for free. But the skirmishers here, probably the highlight of my day now. And getting a free war wagon as well. Look at them go down before they even reach the, like... I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, where skirmishers are actually winning against long swords. 3 traps and 3 monks. There's a lot of gold to lose. We do see Mars now adding more arbs here, and I think that's the right call. Especially as he's still going for the long swords. He's actually teching Hussar here. If the numbers of arbs are too small for Mars, the Hussar here could actually do a lot of damage, but it will require the numbers to be small, Would really like to see Hudspars not feeding these skirms to the castle. I know, but maybe is denying the extra buildings here worth it? I don't think so. A Treb is now coming out and will be hitting this. Nope, it'll be hitting this archery range. Okay. I think this is looking like Hudspars is gonna try and drop a castle somewhere else. I still think it's anyone's game at the moment. More eagles in the queue. This is looking a lot more balanced eco from Hudspars as well. And the thing is, eagles deal with everything that Koreans can send at them, in my opinion, with the... If you get to a massive onagers, and the onagers do an attack round, this has happened to me before, the eagles die almost instantly. That could be one risk here. With eagles, but otherwise, the eagles deal with everything Koreans can send, with the exception of champions. Hello Salmonella, how are you doing? Yes, it did start with a Korean toss. I knew Adonal skirmishes were great, but like they're just getting so much value here, and Wavemaster actually still hasn't teched the final armor upgrade either on either his Hussar or his longswordsman here. And look at them. There's only like 2 arbs mixed in here. Like this, all these skirmishes, the skirmishes are doing the work here. And look at another castle going down, and how many skirmishes does it take to kill a Treb? I think it would take 150 to one-shot it still. So yeah, 150 fierce armor is really nice. Would have liked to see the Trebs being repaired at the same time. But I can't understand, there's a lot going on at the moment. Now, will we see Weebmaster go for... He's going for full Hussar here. So we will probably look at going for the raids here. And look at this, he's building bombard towers. Thing is, Trebs still deal with the bombard towers as well. The eagle raids from Hudspars not really getting any value with the longswordsman being stationed there. But if Hudspars can take down this castle, take down this bombard tower, and can keep his own eco alive here, I don't think he... I'm gonna say I don't think it's throwable. I don't think it is. And even with these numbers of Hussar, with this number of arbs and the Adonal skirmishes, I still think that they will win pretty handily here. Wood boy, shows you big wood. He's got 60 on wood, maybe a little excessive. But he hasn't actually gone too crazy, whereas Weebmaster with 5k5 in the bank at the moment. If this castle goes down, I wouldn't want to be Weep right now. That being said, the Hussar raids are going into Hudspars' base at the moment, but the towers here are also helping here a little bit. I think this is game over, honestly. Just look at them. I don't oh wait, is Hudspars lacking ballistics, or is that just a coincidence that they all missed there? And Hussar are gonna try and snipe the Trebs here. Are they even gonna get them though? Nope, they gotta go for the arbs and the skirms here. This is game over. 131 pop to 190. And the Hussar, these are Korean Hussar, they're not great, and they're still lacking the final armor upgrade. So even if they were fully upgraded, they still wouldn't be the best Hussar in the game. I would like to see Hudspars not with 15 in each barracks, maybe a couple more barracks. But I would like to, as I was going to say, I would like to see him adding some more eagles at this point. And getting another relic, I think that brings him to 2 or 3. So he's securing gold into the late game, which is so important to do with Aztecs, especially with their bonuses. Weavemaster going for some mangonels currently. Korean mangonels are terrifying, but you need to get to Onager here realistically, and I think you can still get to Onager. But then the question is, will Hudspars... I feel like Hudspars is just in such a good position here to keep the pressure onto Weebmaster. Oh, why is it going slow all of a sudden? Didn't click anything. Maybe it's just me lagging a little bit. Korean cab is just sad. That is exactly it. PPC. The fact that, like, the fact that they are dying so easily to athletic skirmish is just a testament to how crappy they are, especially lacking the final armor upgrade currently. I do believe they get it though. GG is called. Well played to both players. Hardtamar's taking game 1. Salted, I believe you are gonna join me for the next game, which will be excellent. I just need to get the game ID to you as well. I've just sent you the game ID. Salted? Yes, we have a Salted co-cast. Hello, Minita Gamer, how are you doing today? So we'll change the scoreboard. Hudsmar's taking game 1 pretty decisively at that point. I know, FT, but it was looking like a comeback was possible, wasn't it? For a second there, FT. KD looking surprisingly even. Definitely a better economy from Captain Weebmaster there. But I just think that once Hudsmar's teched into Atlatl and he got the ARB mixed in here, I think unless Weebmaster pretty much instantly went for Onager there, I think he was always going to be in a losing position from that point onwards. We have clearly better, different definitions of fine, do we? Alright, so game 2. I don't know if Salted is in the Discord currently. Give me a second. Do I remember you? Honestly, I do not. Not to be rude, of course. Salted is on the way. Joy a market to sell for gold, more production buildings or something. Yeah, definitely would be good to see the wood being put to use. No, it's good to see you've been around for a little bit. 1 minute 37 seconds until the game starts. Salted on the way. Oh, he's in the Discord. Let you in. Hello, Salted. How are you doing?
Hello, I am doing fine. How are you?
Sleepy but good.
I do have to commend your commitment to actually casting this full series, knowing what time it is for you currently.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine though. It's fine, and especially when there's another set starting at 10 o'clock tomorrow my time.
Oh yeah, this is fine. I think this is the first time you're kind of hoping that a best of 5 is ending up to
A best of 3.
be like, yeah.
So did you get the game up?
Yeah, I'm currently waiting for 48 seconds.
Oh, perfect. So we have Japanese versus humans on Hideout. What do you think we might see here?
So I guess the general idea of humans is pretty straightforward on Hideout. So the pick that fascinates me more over here is Japanese, where I think Japanese is it's a solid civ, but it feels like a B tier civ for something like Hideout, in my opinion. What are your first thoughts on it?
I'm expecting Men at Arms towers. Like, I've seen Captain Weebmaster basically use towers in almost every game that he can. And I'm just expecting Men at Arms towers into a castle drop if I'm not. And especially against humans as well, I feel like that could be a pretty strong strategy if Mars is kind of going to go for like greedy human boom.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. I have to agree. So I'm kind of curious whether I guess I agree with you that that's pretty likely to happen, especially given what we saw previous game. He sure likes his towers. Curious as to how it will work out for him, because Cuban Boom is kind of double-edged in that sense. Because yes, you're in food a long time. You do spend a stone on a TC, so you can't drop a counter tower immediately, which makes it very interesting. But at the same time, it's really hard to press all resources of a human player in such a scenario.
That being said, Hadsmar has been blessed with a stone in the back of his base, and he can TC. Oh, is that four? I think 4 tiles, right, for a TC, or is it 5?
We have a TC here, and we can use that to count that it's indeed 4 tiles.
So he can actually place. I believe he can place his TC in this golden spot here, right next to the stone. So we'll be able to take that stone pretty early for that. Oh, is he gonna? Please don't tell me he's gonna build a lumber camp in that area.
He might make it in the corner, and I'm not
Okay.
sure if I agree or disagree with that, to be honest. Because it's good to have it in a corner, right? It's efficient for the lumber camp. It does work next to the TC. Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'm just glad he didn't block out this area, because I feel like a TC spot here, if he is going for the human boom, and then goes for tower defense, I think he is in a really good position to then kind of go into that all-in castle age.
Yeah, because the way his map is built up, like you said, the stone in the back is just really nice. His goals are kind of towards the outside of the walls, but that isn't really an issue, right? All he needs to do is like get up to Castle Age. He can even build a siege workshop on the way up to Castle Age or something, and from there on he should be in a pretty alright spot. He can even do something like go pretty ham on stone in feudal. He will be up to castle pretty late, but once he's castle, he'll be able to drop a castle, claim a gold, and go into Kipchak, which is okay in this scenario, I think.
I do wonder if Kipchaks would be the right call though, because they do kind of die to crossbows and the arbs, and they definitely die to scams. I think
that's fair.
And it's also
it's not a bet against Japanese.
And then it's also awkward going into cavalry against Japanese because of their pikes as well.
But it kind of, I mean, it's just one route of play, and it also really depends on how the Thrush goes. I mean, it really depends on how much he's actually going to invest in the Thrush, how committed is he going to play. Is it going to be like Thrush, Man-at-Arms and Archers next to it, or is it just going to be a plain Thrush? There's many ways it can go, and that also really kind of influences the way you want to play this out as humans. Because even if he creates a unit that's pretty decent against yours, like if he goes Pikes against your Knights or Expo against your Kipchak, then if you had 2TC eco for so long, you can maybe get away with it.
Definitely, actually, and it's all at that point it becomes more about numbers than it does about anything else. Just the sheer force from the humans.
And it's also going to be interesting as to what the uptime towards Castle Age, because if you're Thrushing, usually both players have a pretty mediocre food eco. And as the human player, he will also be investing quite a bit extra food into the second TC, especially if he goes on stone for a castle. He'll be able to Castle Age pretty late. So maybe Hud's Mars will have to like sacrifice some VLD to be up in time, or yeah, but it all really depends on how this Thrush is going to open up. So I can see this game, like the Thrush is guaranteed. I think the second TC is pretty guaranteed as well, but it can go many ways from there.
Although, it could be really interesting as well to see Weebm change things up a little bit and even go for a castle drop. And go for an all-in castle age instead. I feel like that actually would be more of a problem for the humans if he does just go for a straight FC into that kind of castle drop. And then forward siege, forward everything.
So I find FC into castle drop an interesting strategy against humans, but why I don't like it too much here is just because of the fact that Japanese just don't have the most attractive unique unit to go for in Castle Age.
True.
And second of all, it's very likely that Hud's Mars will drop his TC kind of safely in the back, and if you cannot drop your castle on a TC, it's also not as exciting to do.
That's true. We do see Hud's Mars clicking up to the feudal age first. And Weebm is going for a 23 pop. That's not standard for Man-at-Arms towers, is it?
23 pop is a tiny bit on the late end, especially given Japanese.
He's just going to gold now. Yeah, 5 villagers coming forward for Weebm, so definitely going to be variation of Man-at-Arms tower, or at least towers here. Maybe even skipping out. There's no barracks up. Maybe look for a forward barracks.
That is kind of an interesting consideration, right? Because you can opt for the naked thrush, but you can also go for the man-at-arms thrush. And against humans, the naked thrush timing is going to be really iffy for the humans because that's around the same time as they're trying to get up the TC and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if on hideout, if you don't have something like man-at-arms, he can try and fill fight your veils for quite some time. And if you have to send your veils back and send healthy ones forward again, you are losing so much time.
That being said, Hudsmars is being pretty greedy here. Hasn't gone for Loom just yet. I think against Japanese and on hideout, I'd probably go for Loom on the way up, like before, or at least as my first point of call in. Oh, and he's going for the TC on the gold instead, and I don't like it.
Ooh, so to be honest, I don't mind the no Loom before up, as long as you get it like right after, because you're doing such an early up as humans that there isn't any military coming to watch your base on hideout before you're up, right? So I think it's pretty nice to wait with Loom here, in my opinion. What I, just like you said, what I dislike is this TC placement.
And the forward barracks and tower coming out from Weebm. So yeah, if Huds was actually paying attention there, he could actually send a villager in to batter this tower down, as it is right next to the wall. Hudsmar's making the right reaction though, and is going straight to stone. I just wonder if he will be able to get enough stone to then deny the second tower.
Yeah, I really like the move to immediately go to stone. But the TC placement is gonna make everything about this slightly more difficult. So I'm curious as to how this is going to work out. I'm also kind of... so what's nice about having in the top north of his base is that he also secures the wood line. And he didn't place it on the wood line on the south either, which is just making this slightly risky.
And this tower, unless he walls it in, like as in walls forward slightly, I think it could be actually denied here, and that would be terrible for Hudsmars. He's not walling it in. Oh no. Then again, the villagers and men-at-arms aren't, they just don't care, they're going the other direction.
They really don't care, no. I mean, wait, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just out of TC range as well, so he could batter it down with veils. But I guess that with the man-at-arms, he kind of feels okay just walking into the base. Yeah, Hudsmars does have Loom now, luckily, so that's gonna make it kind of okay to deal with this. He's kind of closing in the veils with a wall here.
And you really can't veil fight you basically can't fight a Japanese man-at-arms very easily. Like, you can see the one villager went down really quickly. And more veils are gonna get murdered here.
To be honest, what it is, like with good micro, as soon as we just went too far in the base, he should have been able to kind of veil fight. It's just every time a veil gets a low health, you send it back to UTC, you send forward some healthy veils, and yeah, then you basically stop his thrush, and you might lose a veil, but if you stop his complete thrush and you kill his veil, so make him walk back, oh boy, this is a lot of veils though.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like, that's a bit of a disaster there. I think Weebmaster still has a lot of stone ranked as well, so I think he's gonna go for more towers here. And Japanese man-at-arms just are so strong. And really nice micro from Weebmaster as well, honestly.
Worked out pretty well. He really focused down the veils quick enough to get some value. I mean, his own veils will be semi-trapped here, but another veil of Hudsmars might go down here. Definitely looking like it. The veil deficit is becoming pretty severe now.
32 to 23, and the other players on a human boom, like, that's the damage done. Like, you're basically back in early feudal age at this stage. If you're in Hudsmar's position.
Exactly, and he had 2 TCs for a very long time, but he's just now adding more than 6 farms, so only now the second TC really is going to become relevant.
I think Hudsmars is trying to get some... I think it might have been missed, because I thought it was going to go for a sneaky quick wall on the... but instead Weebmaster's going for the sneaky quick wall here.
Should be. He can delete... Oh, he's committing deleting the house. There's a wall there.
Oh,
wow,
look
that was
at
pretty
that.
nice.
Look at that, although there is a 1 tile gap. Yep.
Wait, what's... Oh, he's adding new men at arms. That is a really interesting move. And to be honest, it's quite a bit of value because Hertzmars doesn't have anything to do with the men at arms.
This is a disaster
his
of
base
HUDs.
is still completely open.
I think this game's gonna be over very soon.
I think so as well, to be honest. There's nothing he can do against the new men at arms. His defensive tower is not really achieving anything, and the build deficit is just too big. Even if he has these 2 TCs up and running now till the end of the game, it's gonna take ages to catch up.
And this is why I always make my second... If I've got a position where I can go for wood and stone on humans and I'm going for a boom, 99 times out of 100 I'll go for the wood and stone TC.
In general, I feel like whenever you do an extra TC with humans, you just need to make sure there's a wood line underneath it, because otherwise you... yeah.
Hudsmars is going to go onto this stone outside. He might be able to look for a comeback, but I think it would take a pretty big throw for Weebmaster to now lose this.
A huge throw, to be honest.
A salted double throw?
Salted double, like a real special there. And it's an interesting move to go on stun. I guess Hudsmars is like, maybe if I can get some defensive towers up and keep my TCs running, I can get back into the game.
Doesn't even have the wood for another lumber camp, let alone for
He has a functional lumber camp.
But he doesn't even have... Yeah, he doesn't even have the wood for a defensive tower, let alone the...
Okay, so I don't think that this move is going to make a difference, but Hudsmars is currently walling in the forward barracks.
I do like that little touch.
I respect the move. It's a bit late. It's looking a bit rough already, but it's a move nice to see. Yeah.
And now the only way I can take wood is by using this wood line over here, which is quite inefficient. It would be better than not taking wood at all, though.
So, what is kind of interesting about how Captain Weeb has built his towers is that a few of these towers can just be taken up by builds quite quickly, and he can retake something up his base quite quick if he just build rushes them down.
Yeah.
The issue, however, obviously is still the man-at-arms running around and the gap in eco that already exists.
I think Weebmaster is almost up to Castle Age here as well. He's actually idling to go up.
Oh, interesting.
I think he's in such a
use them.
commanding position to even idle up here as well.
Yeah, I think it can work. I was kind of curious to what's his eco, because I figured if he's idling to go up, maybe he plans to drop a castle or anything, but his eco is actually kind of nicely balanced. Very often with treasures, especially on lower level, you suddenly see the player just stacking up more and more stone.
Oh, that's his game over.
Oh boy.
There's no coming back from that. 26 villagers, 1 wood in the bank, and no path to the Castle Age here. Like, the men-at-arms go down, but at what cost?
At what cost? I wonder how Hudsmars is looking at his game currently, like how he feels about his position, because this is a very disastrous position. He might be able to get 4 wheels here of Captain Weeb, but I don't think that's going to be enough at this stage.
I feel like if Hudsmars does look back at this game though, there's a lot to learn from here. I don't think there was anything that was absolutely like repugnant about his gameplay here. I think it was just a few mistakes that really added up.
He just really let Captain Weeb just execute his game plan. Biggest and easiest thing to correct was just replacing the TC somewhere else. And in my opinion, the counter tower that he did put up, I really liked how early he went on stone, but how he spent it was just kind of suboptimal.
Yeah. And Castle Age, I think we might see a Castle Age GG.
Oh, GG, yeah, that seems. Hudsmars does have a stone in the bank for.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Does have a stone in the bank for a castle, but is 800 foot away from Castle Age approximately, so that's looking pretty rough.
Basically, PPC, there was nothing repugnant about your gameplay. It was just a few mistakes that kind of increasingly got worse that ended up letting Weebmaster get away with, in my opinion, almost quite a greedy Trosh going towards the back of Hud's Mars's base.
So what I think, apart from the TC placement, what Mars' biggest point to make the game easy on himself could have been is like just drop the tower between his TC and the wood line up north. And just secure that area and make sure the Trish can't move on. If he has a wall in front of that, he has a tower there, he buys himself so much time, and Captain Weeb just has to go all the way around and find a new pressure spot.
Exactly. Hello, Allegram. Yes, you did witness a bit of a murder there. And yes, this is a semi-finals ball. Good to see you guys. So we're going to game 3. I'll get you the ID and I'll update this.
Yeah, definitely. But so we have to keep in mind, like, this was really strong play from Captain Weebmaster here.
Oh, definitely.
Beautiful name, by the way. So, but we also have to keep in mind this is his home map. This is probably something he prepared. You said like he really likes playing Man at Arms Towers, and Hideout is a really big for. Yeah, you kind of maybe give your opponent some false sense of security by picking this map. So really well executed and well planned by him, in my opinion. But now we have to see how he will be doing on the home map of Hud's Mars.
Hello, Kai. How are you doing? Are you feeling any better? And yes, this is salted. Were Inca's Civ banned? Let me just double check. I believe they actually were banned. Yes, but Incas were banned. Come on.
I mean, given the Wheatmaster's line of play so far, I can completely see why the Inca ban is a thing. And I'm really curious what Hud's Mars is gonna pick as a home map here. Do you recall any home maps he had in previous series?
I actually have all the draft here, so give me 1 second. So Hud's Mars has Serengeti and that's banned. Has Mongolia and Arena are his picks. The pretty close maps. So I think he's more of a late game player.
Okay. I'm kind of curious whether Wheatmaster is really dedicated to the Thresh enough to actually try it on Arena as well.
Oh, that could be amazing. Let's be honest. I want to see that now. I've seen it a couple of times, but hopefully.
Such a
sorry.
risky thing, though.
Go ahead. Hopefully you feel better soon, Kai. And hello, High Flyer. Can't actually get this game up. Have you managed to get it up?
No, I don't see. Is it just in the? I don't see it currently.
Could be a DE thing, so I'll just quickly go back into the multiplayer.
Are you sure they started yet? Oh, here I have.
You have it? Okay, no worries. I have the game ID.
No, wait. Yeah, no, sorry. I just double checked that the game ID is correct, but yeah, it is correct.
High Flight, it'd be fun to get you in at some point, honestly. Come on. Why is it doing this to me?
Thanks, DE.
Let's try and see if it's on AoE2.net, if maybe something's happened.
It is on AoE2.net, the game, so I'm not sure why we're not finding it.
I smashed my computer a couple times, maybe?
As long as you don't expect me to do the same, that's fine to me.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I can actually find it now.
You can find it? Okay.
Yeah. I just randomly mashed buttons. I tried looking for their lobby name, and then I just put the game ID in again, and it worked somehow.
Oh, see, and I put the game ID again, and it works all of a sudden.
Just, it's a feature.
Mongolia. So obviously we know this is now Britons and Khmer, but do you know any of the meta when it comes to Mongolia, especially in regards to 1v1 Mongolia?
Gosh, I'm not really sure what the complete meta on Mongolia is. It feels like an even more close version of Arabia. So I can imagine it just really leans itself for civs that can indeed do some sort of boom and really use how close the map is, which really speaks to Khmer being a thing, maybe Celts, but I'm not sure if that's too slow. But I kind of want to point out that we have seen this matchup in the Crystal Cup before, and I believe it was also Mars playing as Khmer.
I think so as well, actually. I was gonna say, it looks
Against
familiar.
Britons as well.
And Highfly actually saying almost the exact same thing as you. Amazing meso map, full wall drush FC boom.
So what happened last time is that a Briton player went through the age archers, and obviously didn't really get anything done against the 10 million layers of walls and the cliffs. And then the Khmer just busted out the Scorpions in Imperial Age and basically won the game from there on.
That does sound about right. There's been so many games in this Crystal that sometimes a couple of them get lost, but
Grayton?
in terms of generally how you think this matchup would go, though, what would you say? Like, if imagine it was Arabia as well for a second.
Wait, 1 second. You're completely in and you're caught up to live, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm just gonna speed up a little bit. About this matchup in general, I think it would make a really interesting matchup on Arabia. I guess Khmer really wants to get going with scouts in Field Age. On a more open map, I can see Khmer having a shot, but overall I would favor Britons, especially if they can like Dorish FC into Expo. It's not super easy for Khmer to deal with the Expo in Castle Age, but on a closed map like this, well, then again, Khmer do have like the Scorpions with the additional range, but actually matches the range of the Britain Expo, which makes it easier for them to deal with it. So that's what is really interesting about this matchup. Khmer actually has a siege weapon that works against the freaking Britons.
And you know how I feel about the Britons.
Yeah, I just want to say, I guess Khmer is your new favorite Civ now.
The only thing is, though, I find that so this is the kind of line of play that I do if I'm playing Britons here, I think. I go Drush FC crossbow if I want to go offensive and I add siege. And as soon as you add a mangonel, the Scorpions, extra range or no extra range, still die.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's why it's not like a winning condition for Khmer to add in a few Scorpions.
That being said, I feel like a few defensive Scorpions in good positions will allow the Khmer to do a full boom.
Definitely. And you can kind of, the thing is, like, the Khmer can drop the 3 TCs once he's Castle Age, add a defensive siege workshop, and that's just gonna be a few mangonels and Scorpions, and they will be really pesky to push into. And then the Khmer basically don't get enough damage while booming. If they can hold that way. Sorry, that was a bit vague on my end, but I hope you get my idea.
I definitely get your idea there. We do see Weebmaster walling got pretty far from the TC with the first couple of houses. I think he's gonna get housed briefly here. Would like to see a Loom coming in temporarily. Bit of damage on the scout though. I feel like on this map, I know that it's mostly FC. I would still not want to lose my scout, especially not on this map where you can see things like sneak stables and whatnot. And off to the side, or you can have sneak siege workshops and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, I mean, it's really common. Like, it's a given that your opponent tries to go FC on this map most of the time, especially if you know your own map is kind of safe, you should be fine. But for example, both players have a pretty nice heal.
Hans, don't do it, don't do it. Oh
it's
no.
A trap. But what I was saying is, like, both players have a heal right next to their base, and they make kind of nice aggression points because there's an extra gold located on that hill for both players. There's an extra stone. So if your opponent plans on doing a castle up on that hill, or actually do go with some siege push from that hill, it's really nice to have that information in advance so you can play in that regard against that push and kind of use that additional information to. Oh no, it's Master losing a build to the ball, by the way.
Oof. A bit rough.
That is a bit rough.
I
Yeah,
also,
he just.
I was just gonna say,
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think that in terms of hills, Weeb Masters isn't ideal, but it's not like game ending. I think if Mars loses his hill, I think that could be game ending, just based on the slope, the trajectory going towards his TC. Losing the stone and the gold here, it means that he can still that Weeb Master can pressure this main gold as well from that kind of area.
So that's really interesting because both players have that big hill. There's an extra gold and a main gold is pretty close, and there's an additional stone on that hill, and it's pretty close to the TCs as well. So it's really funny how close it actually is. And I just want to point out immediately, it's very interesting. We see Captain Weedmaster actually having Loom queued, building the barrack. Oh, sorry, gold. I thought blue was freaking Khmer for some reason. Blue is the Britain player. That makes more sense. So he will be going for men-at-arm archers, it seems. Hertz is not fully walled yet. What are your thoughts on that, Shadow?
I think that it can, if he gets damage with it, I think it's going to do really well. But I don't know if I would much prefer Drush FC crossbow here, especially when you know that you've got your opponent's scouts, and you can kind of start doing the Drush a little bit later if you haven't planned for it. Oh, Weebmaster actually lost his scout underneath Mars.
Yeah.
His TC, as I said that. So.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
So it's interesting because Hood's Mars will be fully walled by the time the men-at-arms arrive. He finds a nice spot for the walls. I really like the way he is walled, especially it can be very tempting to wall the bottom of that big hill, but you really want to push out and give yourself the extra space. There's one thing to point out though, is that the wall that is on the north, that's like 3 tiles wide, can be hit from uphill. So that wall is going to go down really quickly against men-at-arms.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest. I feel like if Hud's Masters kind of practice the Khmer build here though, for the Khmer FC, gets the siege workshop really early, the window of opportunity for Britain's to do damage becomes so narrow with men-at-arms archers. 1 or 2 Scorpions will just deal with that really easily.
Also, I slightly debated you because of the timing of the barracks. I thought he would be playing men-at-arms, but actually it looks like he's playing straight archers, and honestly I dislike that quite a bit because men-at-arms help a lot with pushing down these kind of walls, but the archers themselves is gonna take a very long time to get in.
I like the idea of the outpost, I really do. Just Dark Age outposts just don't really get that much vision, do they? But I feel like at least he's thinking ahead for the information here.
I think outposts are underrated. I really like it when people do use outposts, and like you can see what he's doing. He's just grabbing 10 stone with a Vil, and that's enough for 2 outposts. So I really love these kind of things.
See, I didn't even think of it that way. I feel like until you get Town Watch though, I feel like outposts just really don't do nearly as much as I'd hope them to.
That is definitely fair, yeah. I mean, I think they're pretty fine in Feudal Age, I guess. And I guess this is kind of... I mean, for all Hoods knows... Well, I guess he knows there's some Feudal aggression coming, because he sees that Captain Weep is up already. But, yeah, it's nice to have an idea of what he's doing. But now the Archer reveals himself hitting the house.
And if you're Huds here, obviously you're doing an FC build. He isn't going to have the 3D code to go up straight away, and I don't think he wants to idle here. I think that's the right pull. But would you drop a barracks and a range to go skirmishers here, or would you just you think you've got a pretty good position to go for the FC into a siege workshop?
So it's really interesting, because he's Khmer, he doesn't even need the barracks, and he can just drop the range.
Of course. I didn't even think about that.
So looking at the way, like if you look at his point of view in Fog of War, every wall that can be hit and destroyed by him, he has an easy time re-walling behind it, to be honest. So in that case, I would just wait till at least after clicking up to Castle Age, and from there on, maybe... I mean, if I see this amount of archers, I'm not afraid. I think I would just straight go for a siege workshop and boom.
I feel like Hudsmars actually is in a really good position here. Siege Workshop will deal with the double range, and the thing is that the whole range archers does take a bit of toll on your economy. We see fletching coming in as well now.
Yeah.
As long as
And
HUD's... Oh, yep, and he's at a house here as well, so you won't be able to... I really feel like Hudsmar's in a really strong position right now.
this is exactly the same thing that happened in... I'm not sure who Huds was playing again, but I'm convinced it was Huds playing Khmer and Mongolia as well. I was casting these matches with ZeroZabias, maybe he still remembers. But anyway, this is exactly what happened that game. What happened from here on is Khmer player plops down Siege Workshop, stalls the archers, 3 TCs, goes towards Imp, and masters a ball of Siege with whatever he pleases, and he should be able to close out a game.
Yeah. Oh, for a second there, looked like that villager was going to go down. I was like, don't let it happen, don't let it happen. Wheelbarrow coming in for Weebmaster now. I think he won't. I think it's actually a pretty clean build that Weebmaster is going for here. So, in spite of the strategy, in my opinion, not being the best idea, I think at least the build has been clean enough that he will be in a better position than maybe the other player was.
Okay, so what I really like here, I'm not sure if it has been done intentionally, but I see 5 on gold for Captain Weebm, and that's too little to keep up archer production, especially as Britons, but I feel like he pulled a few of gold and make sure he seeded some extra farms early to actually make his way up to Castle Age a bit quicker, rather than continuing to make archers and be up to Castle Age too late.
Especially with Britons with the having the faster ranges as well, it's a little hard having the correct balance, I find, for it.
Yeah, it can definitely be hard, and in most scenarios when you are playing a more open map and you can pressure with your archers, you're happy to have these speedy ranges, but if you just wanna... If you're in a race to Castle Age, what this game kind of defaults to, that Hudsmar's completely won that race, that is, then having both ranges working at lightning speed as Britons just isn't really what you're wishing for.
And look here, Hudsmar's dropping a defensive Siege Workshop before the third DC, and I think that's the absolute correct move. You don't want to... You know that your opponent's going for archers. You don't want to be entirely vulnerable to them.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, he isn't really being pressured, but I guess it's more than fair to do so. And I guess he's in a really comfortable spot here. Like, he's slowly building up a Veil lead. It isn't there yet, but Weebmaster just clicked up to Castle Age, so there will be a significant Veil lead in a couple of minutes.
That being said, Huds is -1 Vil because this villager is bugged on the wall. He has tried pathing in I believe, Dark Age. And instead of the villager coming up as idle, for some godforsaken reason, it has decided just to stand there and pretend it's working.
It's trying to path in, and yeah.
I really wish D would fix that. It's one of the most frustrating things.
Also, these guys just hugging in the wood line and that kind of stuff. Disaster piece. Okay, so 2 Town Center coming up for Hudsmar's here. So there's an interesting scenario going on here.
Oh, he realizes.
Oh, there we go. More outposts. That's what we like to see. So Weebmaster has been building up military all through the late, so he will have a large military force once he's up. But it's gonna be really hard to get in here and deal serious damage, and he needs to do serious damage once he's Castle Age, because otherwise he's just gonna be outboomed. He's gonna struggle against the Khmer late game composition, and yeah, that would basically be game. So I'm curious what his plan is going to be. I would really like to see him just drop a forward Siege Workshop, maybe go for a castle play, go 1 TC play until he hits Imp or something, and make sure he finds some way to pressure this, because just playing passive and dropping TCs is just an instant giving up this game to me.
We do see only 8 on wood currently, Bodkin and Crossbow coming in at the moment. I think this might indicate he's going for that siege kind of play, but I think he needs to take some villagers off of farms if he is going for that kind of aggression.
It definitely should if he plans to do that, and we see a TC being added, and I don't like it, to be honest.
Maybe I was being a little bit hopeful here, but I just feel like you're against Khmer, and even though the score's very deceiving here, isn't it? Like,
it's very deceiving. Yes.
54 villages to 37. The second TC only just being added for Weebmaster now. I would have liked to see Mars making these Scorpions a little bit sooner. Like, I don't think Scorpions take that much of a toll on your economy.
And his economy in general has been pretty...
Second Siege Shop.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe he realizes that he won't have the numbers that he wanted here.
So what we saw Mars do last time he played is just make one big Scorpion Death Ball with double bow thingy. I forgot the exact
double
name for my
crossbow.
exact- Thank you. But it's a Scorpion, not a crossbow.
I know, it doesn't make sense too much. But the
But
extra
anyway, last
range,
time he really
look at that. And he's
committed
repairing.
to this. Oh boy, the value. But last time he just made a death ball of basically only Scorpions, and I was kind of questioning that he wasn't adding anything else, but his eco leap was so big that it worked out for him. I'm kind of curious whether he's going to commit to only Scorpions again, and from there on I'm curious whether Castle Weedmaster might be able to find a way to punish it, but that's going to be hard with just Britain Expo.
And we do see Hudsmod's adding a 4th TC, and he's going for an early handcart as well. So he really does want to go for that full eco 4 TC play. He only has 13 on farms, so he is adding the farms now. And he had quite a bit of food bank, so I think he's actually in a really good position. Especially with Scorpions being made occasionally in the Mangonel here as well. It's really hard to take any good fights as Britain's here.
And he's 3 TCs right now, the Britain player, but it's just not really going to work out right. There's still 24 vills behind for him, and that's not the only thing, right? Because Britons just have a really clear power spike in Castle Age, maybe Alien, but after that, party is just slightly over for Britons in most scenarios. And that's where Khmer is like, yeah, I got some nice tricks on my sleeve, and just might have an easier time.
And I actually really, I don't think it was intentional here, but I really like that the houses are here. It just makes it even harder for Weebmaster to use the slightly better mobility of archers over siege here.
I also just have to point out that I just love the palisade walls in the back, just in case there's some scary
Better
thing
than,
crawling from the
you
edge.
know, not doing it at all. Hard's
That's
going
fair,
for
that's fair.
stone walls as well.
Boy, he's like, I haven't been booming long enough yet. I kind of like it when my boom goes on for like 40 minutes at least. I'm not ready to fight.
I think we have seen that his late game macro is definitely kind of better than his early game play so far, so I understand why he's going for this line of play.
And to be honest, by the looks of it, he will kind of have this game in a pocket unless he makes a major macro mistake in the long run. But there's so many ways he can play this. Wow, the veil of Mars in the base of Captain Weebster, by the way, being chased by a Jaguar, but the veil of Captain Weebster is actually keeping it alive.
Oh, that's so funny. This is when you wish you were Magyars, right? So you could kill the Jaguar.
Nah, you just quick wall and drop an outpost and see what your opponent is doing.
You could, because all of us can quick wall like that, Salted. Flexing.
It isn't hard against Gaia, because Gaia will move out of the way.
What do you think about this castle placement?
So, from a very theoretical perspective, it's awful, right? Because there's many hills and woodlands around it, and it can just be trapped from that point. So it's actually just horrendous. But the thing is, I know he only wants this for double crossbow, and he just wants to be sure that it goes up.
Yeah.
And from there on, I can barely question it.
I kind of would like to see the house kind of deleted over here, though, and the palisade, and try and get it on this hill. Especially if you've got the number of scorpions that he does have currently.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. That hill's perfect for a castle, right? It's just begging for it. But at the same time, the only way I can see Mars losing this game is by opening up that front hill, thinking you can get down that castle, and then getting pushed away by your opponent and giving him that hill and an area to pressure. If that happens, that is like the only way I can see him lose. So that's why I'm not even hating on this questionable castle placement.
No, he is on stone still. I think he is actually looking at dropping one on this hill as well. So maybe looking to actually commit more to it than just the... Probably from some traps as well, I'd imagine would be a good idea here as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Captain Weebmaster on the way to Imperial Age now. Has he dropped a castle somewhere? No, he has not. And he's only just gone to the stone, so... I don't like that. Just with Britons, I feel like the only good siege unit, realistically, is the trebuchets they get.
I mean, Werewolf traps against Corpse, is that a play here?
I actually kind of like the idea of that. I mean, I'd rather see onagers, but...
Ready.
I mean, Khmer don't get BBC anymore, so maybe like Onager Halb in a strange world, is that a play here? You try? I'm not sure.
I feel like Khmer just have such a bad time trying to counter Halb Siege that I don't think it's a bad idea to at least have some... Even just have some onagers behind this would be good. And the Scorpion... Oh, the villager's coming forward though for some strange reason. And we must have forced
as long as it
isn't
isn't 22 of them, I feel like it's fine.
Yeah, true. 90 vills to 112.
Ooh, you see the caster foundation for Hood's Mars now, by the way.
Why?
Yeah, it's...
I'm so sad.
I don't want to go full petite here, but this one hurts me on the inside, if I'm honest.
Like, if you want this castle, build it on the hill next to the ranges, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, even though I understand why he's gone for it, he wants to deny the ranges, he wants to deny the access to the entrance of his base. This hill as you said, this hill is begging for a castle, but if not, this hill is begging for a castle.
Definitely. Heavy Scope is now in for Khmer player, and we see stables and a stable and more ranges coming up. So we saw the other player go full light cav against this eventually, but the mass of Scopes had grown so big, it just wasn't enough anymore.
I feel like with some traps behind this as well, I feel like Hud's Mars will be laughing. I would kind of like to see... I know that you said that he didn't go for other units, I would kind of like to see some other units here.
I mean, it definitely is the correct play, right? Because yes, this big scope F-ball is scary and all that kind of stuff, but there's things like onagers, a good light cap flank can be scary. Werewolf traps sounds like a bit of a meme, but it is something against it. I would love to see werewolf traps. I would, yeah.
But Weebmaster actually dropping 2 siege workshops currently, and I feel like we're gonna see some onagers very, very soon. And a castle being dropped as well by Weebmaster.
Will the dream comes true?
I feel like it might just be a little bit too late though, because I feel like when you're against massive Khmer Scorpions, you need to have the units kind of teched already and in the right numbers, don't you?
Exactly, because the vulnerable stage of Scorps is obviously when they're still low numbers. As soon as they become bigger and bigger, it becomes more of a challenge to take them out, especially cost effectively.
We do also see C-Tran coming in for hard smarts, and like, there's a hole! I thought that was blocked off. Oh no, that's not... You don't want that to be a hole. Especially when you don't have the numbers up already, because like that choke point could actually be dangerous for the Scorps to pass through. But with no numbers up at the moment... Oh, that's a bit of a disaster. And we also see Hud's Mars adding stables.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so what do you think about the stables here?
I think it's a little greedy. I would probably prefer to see... I'm going to say Halb. I guess I do also know the more information than Hud's does. But I feel like Halb's in front of Scorps is better than going for light cavalry.
So it's very interesting because I mean, Captain Weebmaster is now also taking in towards Onager. At least he has siege engineers, and I believe he's researching the Onager tech, or is this a Mangonel he's making?
The Mangonel. He doesn't actually have siege engineers coming in, and these Scorpions actually massively outrange. And look at that, getting sniped before they even get in, and same thing will happen to these light cavalry. I think this actually might be game. Like
this is like a replay of the last time this happened. It's really hard to take out these scopes, even with light cap at this point.
Oh, please give me a doink on the Mangonels here with the siege ram. GG is called.
GG is called.
I love a good Scorpgasm, so I'm happy.
And bonus points because Shadow sees Britain players dying. He's satisfied.
No, but I think that Weebmaster just didn't. I don't know how much prep he's had for this map, but I think it kind of showed with going for the Men at Arms archers rather than going for like a Drush FC kind of boom play here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I definitely feel like the Fudo Archers, especially without the Men-at-Arms, was a bit of a mistake here.
yeah, we do have a game ID. I'll send that one over to you.
Right? And I guess that just kind of shows that he didn't prep perfectly. And I believe he also did an interview with the previous Britain victim on Mongolia from Mars. And he was thinking like, oh, he expected the map to be slightly more open, and was thinking like maybe he can abuse the archer lines behind the wood lines and whatever. But yeah, Mongolia is really, really close. It's basically a weird version of BF or something.
Yeah, it's like a version of Black Forest where instead of forests, you have cliffs everywhere.
Ooh, speaking of versions of Black Forest, am I allowed to spoil the next home map?
Oh, of course you are, Salted. It's your
I see
favorite.
Yucatan being selected. Honestly, though, Yucatan, I don't love playing it, but I think conceptually it's a very interesting map because of all the things that are possible on it.
And I actually don't hate this for Hudsmars. Just because we've seen him play on the kind of more closed maps, that's where he seems to be more comfortable. With the exception of Hideout, where he got a little more greedy, I'd say. But I feel like it kind of plays into his hands a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm kind of curious because I have put quite a bit of thought into Yucatan because of this tournament, and I found it very interesting. And I'm kind of curious, like, if you think about civs for Yucatan, what are the first few that come to mind?
See, for me personally, from what I've seen in the tournament, it kind of distorts that, but I've seen a lot of Goths. Because they have lots of options. Goths can go for that kind of sneak barrack kind of play, and then they can go for towers, which we've seen a couple of times. Or they can just do really quick walls and go into a boom into the imp, but thanks to Yucatan being so closed off. Trying to think of what other civs we've seen. I think we've seen some Mongols and some Magyars. I don't think Magyars in particular were that great. But I can't think of any other. Maybe Mayans and some other Meso civs could be good. Well, what would you say?
So as far as I know, like a really obvious choice on Yucatan is just Mongols. There's the extra balls, there's extra hunt, there's a lot of food, easy time doing an FC boom. Pretty close map, and Mongols have a really solid late game composition. So that's why Mongols is pretty common on Yucatan. Other interesting options, in my opinion, though, are Khmer as well. We know what Khmer can do. They can also do a really strong just go up to castle, boom well, and do some early castle aggression. But one of my personal favorites also is humans on this map, because you can be up in no time, and from there on you will have 2 TCs running in feudal age, but you will also be able to get up to castle age really quickly.
We were talking about this earlier as well, so funnily enough, about humans being possibly one of the most underrated civs for Yucatan. So it's actually really interesting you bring that up now. We do see a Goths versus Berbers. I believe this is Captain Weebmaster's general go-to on Yucatan. We've seen it before. He goes for like a sneak barracks and goes for towers.
What, Weebmaster going towers? Shadow.
We didn't see any towers last game though, Salted.
No, only outposts. You're damn right, and that wasn't even from Weebmaster. So.
Hudsmars are going Berbers, and I'm imagining that's actually a counter pick as opposed to a planned pick here. Because if you're expecting Mongols, then Berbers are actually a pretty solid pick, I think, for Castle Age. I think Impic gets a little bit airy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of it's slightly questionable in my opinion, because that Mongol imp composition is just really hard to beat for Berbers. But I agree, it probably was his idea behind the Berbers pick. And what are your thoughts about the matchup, given that our friend Weebmaster didn't go for Mongols here?
I think that if Hud's Mars actually defends the Trush pretty well, which I think is a little bit easier on Yucatan. I think Hud's Mars will be in a really good position. If he goes for aggression in Castle Age, I don't think you want to take this to Imp against Goths, because the Harskull Howl mixture here kind of kills everything Burb is going to send at them, in my opinion. But
yeah,
if Hud's Mars defends a Trush and then gets up to Castle Age with, I'd even say 3 Stable Knights, go all in, add Siege when you're able to, stop them getting to Harskulls and finish it really quickly. I think that Hud's Mars wins this matchup.
Yeah, indeed is very interesting because, like you said, so given Captain Wheatmaster's playstyle, he's probably going with the Thrush indeed. But the question is, like, given the matchup, should he even follow that line of play? Because it feels way better for him if this game just goes late until Imp. And the only way Hud's Mars can really, I guess his most favorable moment is indeed Castle Age, but then he needs to find a fight in Castle Age and get in his base, and it's easier if there has been an extended feudal war already beforehand.
Both Deer patches are actually spawning on barriers, which is really nice for both players. And I feel like Hud's Mars actually pretty decent base here to wall up and defend. Weebmaster not with a bad base either, but does have a lot more to wall considering it's Yucatan.
He definitely has much more to wall, and it's also very interesting to point out that Hud's Mars actually is kind of hugging the edge of the map quite a bit. Also means that there's no way for Weebmaster to go around and make like really pesky towers behind his wood lines.
Like he's got one like map hacks wood line, honestly. Like this wood line cannot be touched unless, in my opinion, you kind of screw up a little bit. Like, and you really do have to kind of screw up for your opponent to be able to access this wood line.
Definitely, and he even has like the stones pretty spread out, berries, the gold completely in the back. Maybe a small disaster piece if he forgets to wall on the south and thinks that it's like fully a wood line, but otherwise he should be pretty happy with this map.
And Hud's Mars going for really early walling here. I think that's completely fine. He will need to get Q Loom as he didn't start building the house until a little bit later. But I really like the fact that he's gone for this wall here. It means it's wall behind. And he's only got 2 of the spaces to wall.
Yeah, definitely. I really like pushing out the walls a bit further here. And I also really like the move to wall early, because Goths obviously have the potential to drush really early and do a really big drush, which could be an interesting move. So being walled before the timing with this map is pretty doable, and maybe something he should try and do.
And also, you can use, I know you don't really want to use your resources as part of the wall, if you can avoid it, but I feel like in this situation, if you are expecting a drush, I'm not sure what Hud's Mars is going through Hud's Mars' head, but if you're expecting a drush, I think you kind of wall in these resources a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of, I was thinking how I would wall this, and given the matchup, I think I would wall through these forward rests, and then in Castle Age you can probably break out of your base and reclaim it when necessary.
But I think I actually maybe even prefer what Hud's Mars is doing here. Still trying to wall a little bit forward, but walling so that the gold is a little safer, the berries are a little safer, and the stone is part of the wall.
That is interesting.
And that gives him a little more opportunity to wall behind.
Here?
Kind of curious what we're seeing from Weebmaster so far here.
We do see 5 on wood, so I think he might just be going for an FC here, which would, I'm not surprised given the matchup, but I'm just surprised given his playstyle. Maybe he's adapting here. I really like that.
If he is, and kind of sees like, oh, this matchup is something I like, he's building the mining camp now as well, so it does look like he will be doing some FC kind of line of play. He just doesn't wall at all though. It's just really ballsy, but I guess it could work.
The thing is, Hud's Mars doesn't really want to deal with Goths early either. But the looks of things. Oh,
wait a second.
Weebmaster sending forward a villager?
Does he want to try for the sneaky barracks, but he's gonna find everything walled?
I think he's going for a sneak barracks here. This is 100% a Weeb Masters classic.
But now
He's walled
it's
out.
fully walled.
I feel like
Shame. I would have loved to see that, to be honest.
I think Weeb Master is best option here is to try and path in briefly. Oh, look at that quick house wall to kill the scout from Hans Mars. Not a nice touch.
Oh, Weebmaster trying to find a way in, but has to accept there is no way in. And I'm kind of curious how he adapts from here on. Like, what is his plan? It does look like he just plans for something like an FC. He does have a lot of vills on gold, though.
Let me in. Weebmaster seemed a little bit confused because he's not queuing anything and he's not queuing feudal either.
He's like, wait, this isn't according to my script. I should be in with my bill right now.
And
No, there's no
Hatsumars
plan
is going to be
left.
clicking up at almost the same time with an extra villager here. And still having a scout alive.
Ooh, and it's as Gauss as well, so he didn't have to click Loom, so practically it's... Oh no, wait.
Hatsumars also didn't click Loom. That's
Never mind, I
ballsy.
said nothing.
That is ballsy. Like, I know that you're fully walled, my friend, but...
Slightly ballsy, yeah.
Especially as he didn't even fight the scout as well when he walled it in with the two villagers there.
Yeah, that could have gone wrong, to be honest, but it did work out for him.
I feel like Weebmaster actually might have practiced this sort of build though, where you can have that flexible extension to be able to either go for the sneak barracks and then, you know, add the militia, or actually still go up to Castle Age at a reasonable time here. This
Eco
look,
is not perfect for the Castle Age, though.
and he's going on to stone now, so I feel like this is a lot of adapting here. But Yucatan, with all the extra food, is giving him quite a bit of leeway.
It is, and I guess he will be doing a marker blacksmith up, and he should be kind of okay if he buys a bit of additional food. But we don't see the feudal age buildings going down yet.
Interesting. Okay, barracks coming down now. So I would like to see blacksmith market, as you were saying, definitely.
We do see a blacksmith market for Hood's Mars.
Weebmaster actually going to lame these two walls. I don't feel like this does anything to hurt Hud's Mars, honestly. This is...
It's just morale, Shadow. That's all.
Like, cause I don't remember any time where I've been on Yucatan and thought, all extra walls. Like, if I'm thinking that, it's Black Forest I'm thinking of.
Done it sometime on Yucatan, but that was before feudal age. So we see that Hood's Mars is clicked up to Castle Age, and now the market is going down for Weebmaster, and no blacksmith on the way yet either. So his Castle Age is gonna be significantly later.
I just didn't have the woody core. This is something that Hammer Time was hitting on earlier. It's actually pretty difficult knowing exactly when to go onto wood if you haven't practiced a build specific to Yucatan, because you don't need to build farms pretty much the first half of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I actually did some practice games on Yucatan against Hammer Time, and I found it indeed really interesting because it's almost a bit of a trap. Like, there's so much food you can get in. You're kind of like, oh, I can try and go up earlier. I don't need wood for farms, but then you kind of always get really hang up on the wood you need for the buildings. It can be really hard to adapt to it, especially if it's not your own home map.
And we've actually getting the blacksmith now, but has idled his TC not. This is another big mistake I see. It's like a lot of people, they don't keep their the villagers queued at this stage. Like, even if you end up DQing the villager because it's only half built, it's I'd rather have DQ a half built villager than I would not have the TC idle time.
Yeah, definitely.
Hardsmart's first up to the Castle Age and adding 2 TCs straight away. It's actually gone into stone, so I think he's looking at going for Camel Archers.
Which is an interesting move, because we see Weebmaster also being on stone, and her skull opening would be pretty strong against Camel Archers.
And also, it's not like this map is like it's not the most closed map, but it's definitely not one of the open maps. So Camel Arch is not really benefiting that much from mobility here.
Maybe if he really expects infantry opening without Huskarls from Beatmaster, then Camel Arch would be interesting. But I feel like he kind of wants to do a cav opening and then indeed maybe add something like Camel Arches behind and see if he can close it out before you get the really terrifying Huskar Halt mix.
Oh, that is one, like, Britain's aside, that's one of my least favorite things to face, honestly.
It kinda, for some civs it can be so hard to deal with.
Well, basically, the only option is fully upgraded champions. I do believe Berbers actually get fully upgraded champions, maybe minus supplies.
Ooh, let me check. They don't get. Oh, sorry, this is Dwarves. I thought that was on the Berbers point of view. They do get supplies.
They should get every other tech for them from memory.
Yeah, they do have everything for champ, so that's something they have.
I do believe they also get hand cannoneers, so we could see as a like super late game composition. If we're thinking that far ahead, champion hand cannoneer are quite expensive, but would deal with Goths somewhat well.
You're kind of playing the golf game at that point, and it's doable, but still feel like it can be risky for Berbers to get to the stage, and hand cannoneers are just not the most insane thing, because then Goths have like the bomber cannon respawns in the end, and their own hand cannoneers. So yeah, but I'm kind of curious whether we're going to that stage in general, because it's really interesting. Hut Mars is up to castle stage quite a bit earlier, has a solid field lead again. But as we go towards Imp, this matchup might be really interesting for the Goth player.
We do see Weebmaster adding Pikeman upgrade already, so he's actually, I think like he's preempting like, okay, I'm gonna get stable rushed very soon. What do you think of preempting this? Do you think this is a good kind of assumption for Weebmaster to be making?
So what I think is, it doesn't really hurt his eco currently, right? Because he can just keep all his CCs up and running while he's doing this, and he needs Pikeman eventually.
Yeah.
So I think that this is completely fine. He's now dropping a castle and probably wants to get some Huskars into the mix. I don't think... Yeah, I think it's pretty alright, because it's not very expensive to tag into. He delays his imp a little bit, which could be iffy in some scenarios, especially if Hut Mars does go forward with something like a castle or anything. If you want to be really nitpicky, I would have sent something out to scout and see if I can get any information on what he's doing before making that decision.
We do see Hut Mars turning this game into a bit of an arena, and he's adding a fourth TC. So, as I was saying before, like Hut Mars definitely likes kind of going for that late game kind of play. I feel like that's definitely where, even though this matchup kind of favors like Goths a little bit, I think in terms of the individual players, I think that Hut Mars is kind of showing that his macro towards late game is a little better.
And he still has a bit of an ego lead in comparison to the Goth players. So if he can get to that stage with hand cannoneers before Goths can afford to get something like bomber cannons out or whatever, then it can still be something that's doable for the Berber player here, right?
Or even, like, you could just go 400 IQ and just go full champion straight away. Like, I'm not saying it's a play, but it could be quite entertaining to see.
It's definitely an opening that's possible, yeah.
Especially when you've got a fully boomed eco. And I believe Berber eco is slightly better than Goths from the villagers moving faster.
Tiny bit, yeah.
But like,
by the way, I
biggest
see something interesting being pointed out in your chat, by the way, because Kai is asking whether Golden Stone are the same as Arabia. They are not, because here you have one main gold patch, one extra gold patch, and then there's like only a single extra gold of size 3 on the map, if I'm not mistaken.
There's 2 extra golds and 2 extra stones. I think that's pretty standard on Yucatan.
Wait, where's the second extra gold?
Part of
oh, there it is.
Masters,
There you go.
But it's still not Arabia res.
So you're missing 4 gold piles in your starting base. That's all basically.
They're in quite weird, even for Yucatan, these are in a bit weird spawns. They're both pretty close together, and they're both at the edge of the map.
For both players, each sort of makes it like very easy for them to take it eventually. And I guess Relics is something, if you're really looking at this matchup, Relics late game could be very important. Speaking of Relics, by the way, Mars is sending out monks and grabbing these Relics.
So he really is looking to play for late game. I would like to see the TCs being kept working. I know it is a little difficult to keep everything working all at once, but especially if you are looking for that kind of late game here, you need to. I think you need to be as efficient as humanly possible with everything.
Here.
Oh, and Mars is already claiming one of the extra rests on the map.
I really like that actually. Maybe an outpost around here would be good. Just to kind of keep an eye on for raids and whatnot. He does also have the stone for a castle. Where would you kind of look at dropping this castle?
So there's very many tactical hills on Hood's own map. His map is basically as flat as the freaking Netherlands. There's a few spaces with Captain Weebmaster's map where he might be able to get some control, but it's hard to really get it down. And if he does want to get on something like Camel Archers, you really have to think about where and how you're gonna drop the castle. So maybe just next to the extra rest, maybe just in front of his base as some sort of a defense point.
We see 3 stables coming down for Mars, so looks like he is going to be opening with cavalry. I think he does have information on the castle. Oh no, he doesn't. I know he saw the stone villages at some point though.
Oh, but
The Huskarl's gonna
there's
scout
one
it.
single Huskarl.
And now he'll be like, okay, I see stables, that means pikes. So pretty unfortunate for Mars there.
Yeah.
I kind of like your idea of just going straight champions here, to be honest.
Bereiter. Pacer.
Especially as you boom to the point where it does almost kind of favor the Goths. You might as well beat them at their own game. Rather than playing into the Halb. The thing is, Halb Huskarl mix, like almost nothing beats it in my opinion. Like it really is one of those compositions that gets really awkward to defeat.
Yeah.
Like Cataphracts are one of the few.
We're good.
Multiple ways to deal with it, but they're usually harder to get to than the composition of Halbs and Huskarls itself.
Hmm. And you usually are producing much slower than the Halbs and Huskarls, so it becomes a matter of numbers as well.
I mean, that's what Govs is all about, right? They just want to make very much of a couple of units and party from there on.
Also something worth noting I think here as well is that Berber Cavalier, like yes they are cheaper, but they aren't that amazing of a unit. Like, I think that they get a nice, if you've been building them up, they get a nice power spike in early imp. Like all other Cavalier, but there's nothing special about them here.
A bit cheaper Cavalier, and that's why I really would like to see Hertz actually playing this matchup aggressive in Castle Age rather than waiting for Imperial Age, because then it has more value and yeah, it just works out a bit better.
He's gonna slightly deny this castle though from Captain Weebmaster, and he will see the number of the pikes here. I really do hope that Mars has a plan beyond Cavalier here.
He is clicking chemistry now immediately, so I think he will be going for hand cannons in this scenario.
We do see these knights coming towards the back of Weebmaster's base, and they're just passing. They actually could have got quite a bit of value here if they'd even idled these villages for a little bit, got a couple of ill picks.
I mean, it is something, and given the amount of pikes out, you're happy with any value these knights are gonna get here. But now we see 9 ranges going down for Mars, and I guess that's gonna be a lot of hand cannoneers. Well, he's actually getting ballistic siege engineers. He got fletching as well.
Oh, please don't tell me he's going into crossbow. Anything but CA, crossbow, or genital. Like, any of those units, I feel like, would lose you the game here. Hand cannoneers, I think, are a good way, especially if you get a meat shield in front of them.
He really needs a meat shield. But,
like a,
you know,
even Hussar kind of, yeah, okay, thank goodness, we are seeing hand cannoneers.
Let's go. But like we were talking about hand cannoneers straight champions earlier. They both have like their ups and downs. Like Hand Cannoneers has the upside. It's harder for Govs to counter because they need the bomber cannon out. That's pretty expensive and it takes some time to get on. But Hand Cannoneers themselves are pretty expensive as well. And the nice thing about champions, especially on Yucatan, is they're just not as intensive on the goal.
Yeah. Hello, Lily Jane. Thank you for lurking. Have fun in class. I hope you're enjoying it. I would really like to see a couple of traps coming out for Hudsmars in that entire time that he's been up to Imp though. I feel like we were talking about this before. Like even if you want to go BBC, traps just have such a strong power spike to go for. And your opponent can't really answer traps without diving them in early Imperial, their late Castle Age and your early Imperial Age.
Also, I have to say, it almost feels like we're playing a deathmatch here now. Like both players have so much rest in the bank.
And light cab is being tagged for Hudsmars, but no light cab are being made.
You see Weebmaster drop these barracks in the south, and he just freaking missed the villages of Hudsmars moving all the way in the south. Wow.
What's happening?
He's going for the goal, but he's seeing it.
Oh no, and the Huskars are going to clean up these 10 villages. Luckily, Hudsmars with the villages to spare a little bit here, and the food to spare.
Wow. He has a lot of rest, but... Right, how many villas does he have? 120. I guess it's...
Oh no! No!
Oh, how to do a Doughty 101.
Even if his castle goes up, I don't even know if this could be called worth ever.
I mean, that's still like...
That's not going up.
In total, these were like 18 bills or something. That's a bit much at this stage of the game.
That being said, I also like that Weebmaster's taking Skirm here. That's the exact right thing to do. Oh no. 91%, 93. He needs to warn the final villager. Warn!
98.
No.
Give us the 99. Come on, Vil.
Oh my god. And this is
Doughty.
even with suboptimal, we're gonna call it APM. You still want to try and wall in those villages.
Definitely. At least save one or something.
And now that castle's been denied, it's not even worth deleting. Like 98%, you'll get back what? 30 stone if that.
So that's 2% of 650. Yeah, about.
2%. Oh, that's 13 stone.
Oh, value. That's like 2 outposts. Hey, I'm just trying to be optimistic here.
I'll have no such thing here.
Okay, so what's happening currently is pretty interesting. We see Captain Weebmaster kind of getting on this little Goth mix of like Pike and Huskars, and is adding in Skirms for now to deal with the Hand Cannoneers. The Hand Cannoneers are kind of nice, but they really do need that light cap meat shield in front, because Huskars still have that huge bonus damage against Hand Cannoneers because they are certified as Archer Armor class unit.
Something else worth noting though is that in terms of unit comp, Huskar and Skirm actually can be repelled, not necessarily killed by, but repelled by Hussar. And with the Hand Cannoneers behind it as well, I think it's actually a really good position for Hudsmars to be in.
And this is kind of why the Golf player needs to have Bombard Cannons against Hand Cannoneers, because Skirms struggle too much against the Light Cap being added in front, whereas the Light Cap should never really be able to reach these Bombard Cannons.
I feel like maybe full trash and siege is the way to go for Captain Weedmaster.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that is his best shot in this scenario, because the Hand Cannoneers continue to be a very gold-heavy investment.
Well, Hudsmar is securing the extra golds, both extra golds to the map, which will start starving Captain Weebmaster of gold as well. I feel like these, Light Cavalry are still missing attack upgrade and the Hussar, so not terrible Light Cav currently. I thought they were missing a little more.
So it's very interesting because Hutzmars has a lot of gold in the bank. A pretty solid composition right now is if he has a few more bombwood cannons and just overall a bit higher military count, he should be in a pretty good spot. The only thing that he's risking right now is being too low on military and just kind of being overwhelmed by gulfs here.
And the hand cannoneers actually killing a lot of units over here, but there's not enough light cavalry in the front, and that's one of the big issues here, I think.
That's definitely one of the biggest issues because there's all the gold in the world for Hutzmars, but he struggles to get enough light cav to deal with the skirm mass, and he's kind of running it in one by one. And on the right hand side, he kind of lost his push to a spikeman as well. Bombwood cannons will die to the Huskars as well, I fear. And it's not looking extremely bad for Captain Weebmaster here, to be honest.
And Scholar is kind of going between both players at the moment as well. Is it looking like it's slow motion for you, or is it just because of my lag?
I think it's just for your lag.
Okay.
Yeah.
BBC might actually get a couple of good shots on the skirmishes here, but the thing is, he's trading trash for gold. He has got a lot of gold banked up, so it could be a much worse situation to be in for Huds.
But the biggest issue is definitely just being unable to get the Hussar numbers out, because how many pikes are actually here? There's like 20 pikes out, and he's a solid amount of hand cannoneers, but he's really struggling against skirmishes here.
And the other thing is that it's not like Hudsmars doesn't have, like, he doesn't have the farm eco for this, but it's not like he couldn't have it right now. Like, he just needs a few more villagers queued up, a few more farms being dropped, and I feel like he's in a good position.
And yeah, he needs like a couple more farmers, just a few of food in general. But the other thing is like it's costing him so much rest to keep up a decent army because his army just keeps on running in at this point. The cast on the right hand side will actually be going down to Huskars, and it also means that Hutzmars will be losing control of that gold over there, and that's going to make it even more important to keep those hand cannoneers and those bombwood cannons alive in this stage of the game.
That being said, the gold banked for Huds here, like, he's got a lot to throw around. Like, he obviously doesn't want to throw it around, but like, he has got a lot to kind of recover from here.
Kind of nice, by the way, because what we see in Hutzmars' starting base, we see a few Huskars knocking on the door. Hutzmars actually doing a really nice job keeping that house alive over there, sending over some hand cannons to deal with these Huskars. And just to check, it's also paused for you, right?
Sorry?
It's also paused for you, right?
Paused. I need to catch up, I think. Oh, it's gonna get laggy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, pause. Okay, cool. Now that it's paused, I'm going to quickly double check a couple of things. See what else I can close. I have literally like 3 tabs open on Chrome, and that usually doesn't help.
So this is a really interesting stage of the game because we have 76 against 26 military, and this is where Hutzmars is at a serious risk of being overrun. By the way, MGX, thank you for the sub.
I feel like...
Shadow, you still...
Oh, sorry, I'll continue.
No, I was just wondering whether you were still there.
Oh, yes.
Bit, so...
I also wonder if, I know it may sound a little silly, but if not champions, maybe even Cavalier meat shield here would be better than Hussar currently. Just if you get away with going for a full gold army temporarily, and trying to overrun Captain Weebmaster, especially with the amount of gold banked and the lack of food eco. But I feel like champion is definitely the... I don't think Hutzmars realizes quite how good Berber champions are here.
Yeah, interesting that we're not seeing a champion switch here at all. So I feel like the point you bring up about Cavalier is kind of interesting because he does have the gold in the bank and he can kind of use it. Technically speaking, I guess you want to keep as much gold as you can until late game, just to use it on bombwood cannons over and over again and kind of win that way. But I think he can okay if he just falls back a bit, masses up enough army, and gets like big enough mass to actually contest that of Weebmaster instead of trickling in like he's doing currently.
Hutzmars does have 4 racks, but he is constantly losing a few from Huskar raids. Thank you so much for the sub, Jung Mao. Good to see you. 105 villagers to, let's have a quick double check. 98 villagers. Is Captain Weebmaster losing villagers somewhere, or was there a raid that I missed over there?
I'm not entirely sure. To Captain Weebmaster has been pretty low on the vill number in general this game so far.
And Hardsmars really needs to deal with this one Huskar. Like, it's getting so much value on these villagers at the moment. Like, yes, there's a lot happening, but
carrying the game.
like Hardsmars, if he had a fully boomed eco here, like he would honestly just be able to overrun with the unit numbers, let alone everything else.
Yeah, but it's also just an issue. Like, he keeps on sending in 3 or 4 light cap by itself, and he just really needs that mass to deal with the skirms, or at least soak the damage of the skirms, because otherwise his hand cannoneers are struggling to get some value. Speaking of which, where are his hand cannoneers currently? There's some in the south. They're a bit all over the place.
I was just gonna say, I do like that Hardsmars actually did stonewall this off. I'd actually even like to see fortified wall come in, just because this is like one of the ways that he can really, like, he's already kind of in a not so great position, but one of the ways he could really lose this game is by this more Huskar raids. The one Huskar's killed like 10 villagers already.
I wish that in Age of Empires we could freaking see how many units each unit killed, because I want to see the freaking stonks on this Huskar. Sorry.
What are you doing, Huds? What are you doing?
But this is looking really rough for Huds. I just see him producing out of 3 buildings currently. He has so many rests and so much
6,000 gold. You can buy all the champion techs and you can go full champion here and you can clean out everything Weebmaster is currently making. Like, even if Weebmaster goes back into champion here, he's got pretty limited gold from what I can see. Like, and the gold access isn't great either.
There's 4 relics for Hudsmars as well, so even if he spends all this gold on just getting champ out and holding this point, he should be able to win this game just by...
The barracks are coming down, but I think it's too late, honestly. Oh,
I feel like there's gonna be too much pressure on his eco from this point on, and like the same issue is probably going to happen what he had previously. He's just gonna trickle in with a small army into a big army, and the military count is 109 against freaking 8. Shadow.
I'm really happy to see the champ switch come in, but he's also only got 1 villager building these barracks. This isn't a time to be relaxed. This is a time for panic. Like, I know you're not meant to panic, but this is when you go, okay, I need 15 barracks, I need them now. I've got 6k gold. I've got a market, I can buy food, it's fine. And you just get units on the field.
Food and wood are both at bottom prices, so I feel like Hudsmars just need to accept that he needs to abuse the market here to just stay in the game. And from there on, he has 4 relics, so that can be his win condition late. Yeah, currently it looks like there won't be a much later game than the late game we're currently at.
And the Huskars are gonna get in, and the Halbs are gonna get in, and nothing's gonna clean these up. And there's still lots, like, game is called with 7k gold. Huds, I feel like he had this.
He really could have had this, and the idea of going hand cannons was fine and interesting, but just not being able to master the right combination of units. Like, either he had quite a bit of light cap but no hand cannons, or he had a lot of hand cannons but no light cap, and it really made him struggle against like that ball that Weebmaster created this game.
PPC, exactly. I know you're not meant to panic, but panic. At least get some adrenaline going here, you know, like, you don't need salted level APM to go, okay, shit, I need some barracks up.
just maybe, you know, there's like 110 angry goth dudes banging at your door. We could consider maybe, yeah.
And look at the difference in gold collected as well. Like, most of the time when gold collected like that, when gold is collected like that, the player with that amount of gold wins pretty handily.
Yeah. And I mean, overall, you can see Hudsmars constantly had a larger economy, and he just had more res overall, but he just couldn't make this res efficient. And the KD isn't horrendous for him, but like the fights he was taking, given that his units were way more expensive and should be more efficient, it just wasn't played out correctly in that sense.
We will be going to game 5 in this
I will just
first semi-final.
grab some water real quick.
No problems. I'll throw you the game ID. Yeah, I just think that if Hadsmars makes a champion switch far earlier there, I feel like he wins that by a mile just based on gold collected alone. Even if he had if he was to keep with the Hussar and hand cannoneers, if he kept just the numbers up, even though it wouldn't have been the right combo, it was better than what he was currently doing at that stage.
I'm back, by the way.
No worries. So that means game 5 will go on arena. Hopefully they will not have
Ooh.
too boring of a Dark Age. I at least want to see one Doubt Castle in Dark Age or something.
So the real question is, will he commit to the Threshold Arena?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say Castle
I'm gonna
drop.
say no as well. I mean, a man can dream, but I think it's a no.
I mean, remember back at I think it was 1100 Elo. We're going far back, boys. This is before I even streamed. I got someone did a Korean trash on me, and I was Spanish. I had no idea that you could even do it in arena. So I pathed out of my he did so much damage with it. I pathed out of my base, went to neutral res, but because he didn't see me leaving, like he didn't follow up with anything on that area. So then I got stoned and did a castle drop on his base, and then I killed him. But that was an absolute masterpiece of a game.
Oh boy.
Sometimes I miss that elo just because there were so many wacky things that would happen.
Oh, I to be honest, I have to agree. Sometimes, I mean, wacky things still happen at high elo as well. But yeah, it's like anything can happen, and you can do anything to a certain extent, and that's kind of the beauty of lower elo games, I guess. Game has started, by the way, so I'm
Okay, no
popping in and
worries.
waiting till it starts.
I'm hoping. There we go. I'm just hoping DE works. Oh, it's a Teuton mirror. Oh no, this game's gonna go for 6
boy.
hours.
Oh, but you know, there's two things Teutons can do on arena.
What? Siege tower?
Well, they are good boom sip, but what is the freaking other option, Shadow?
I mean, Trush. You could do. We could see a Teuton Trush.
What is? I would love it if this is just a full out Teuton Thrush.
The thing is, though, Trushing, it's one of those risk benefit analysis situations. Do I really want to trust Teutons? And I'm gonna say never. Like
That's a
even
rough
as
thing here, right?
Incas, I don't want to trust uh, against Teutons.
That is the pesky thing about this being a Teuton spin. Usually as Teutons, it can be really strong because you can kind of force a tower up and you will win it because you can put more builds in. But if your opponent can do the same, it's just like you're doing a regular Thrush, and then suddenly it doesn't really become very appealing, especially in something like Arena, where Threshing is very risky in general.
But if it does happen, like it's gonna be entertaining. I think we might. I kind of think maybe Captain Weebmaster might think of going for a siege tower instead. And don't know why I'm getting that feeling, but I'm getting the feeling.
Still be excited to see a siege tower. So
Well, it's a form of tower.
looking it's either towers or tower shadow. I'll be happy.
Oh, damn it, already caught up to live gameplay. Was hoping we were all a little bit further than that. There's not obviously much to talk about on this matchup. I mean, Two Tonic Knights might actually be decent here. Mars
Yeah,
actually
do you
gonna get
favor
housed
here,
straight
Shadow?
away.
Oh wow.
Bit of a disaster.
That is,
Click. I re here. I would re instantly. Like if
That is a small disaster, yeah.
I haven't
Especially
noticed.
like your 5th game in the semifinals, and then like, yeah, that feels bad, man.
I'm actually surprised that a didn't instantly go for re. Maybe players at this. I have noticed it tends to be like higher bracket players tend to call for the re's more often. But I've seen a couple of lower bracket games where the re has been cool.
To be honest, I feel like it's a thing that many people kind of forget about as well, especially if they don't play tournaments very often.
But in terms of map gen though, looking at this, Hudsmart has 2 nice back golds, but his stone is extremely forward. And Weebmaster with a back stone but 2 kind of forward golds. So if either side went for a castle drop here, it seems like it'd be a little awkward for the other player to defend it.
That is interesting. Like aggression can definitely pay off. Maybe I mean, oh wait, can Captain Weebmaster actually scout this forward stone? Because in that case, you could actually commit to its rush here.
And there's nothing you can do about it except for market abuse. Although, one well-placed Teuton Tower will stop the other Teuton Towers.
True, and he does have both of his goals at one side. I guess he will lose his berries and wild to the TC. I mean, there's some sort of potential. I don't think it will happen, but it will be really interesting to see.
I feel like if either player goes for a long sword siege tower here, I think they actually could be in a good position. Like, it's a lot of investment, and you have to do damage with it. But it's also, it's pretty hard getting rid of Teuton longswords. Like, you can't kill them with your own vills, obviously, very easily. And your opponent has to kind of scout it.
Sufficient.
And it would kind of force you into getting fletching for your TCs to deal with it as well.
So I feel like, as far as we've seen Hudsmars play, it's kind of clear to me that he will just try 3TC boom, because that really seems to be his playstyle so far. And I'm really curious whether Weebmaster is gonna try and contest him in that sense, or is just really gonna try something out of the box on this one.
And we also do see Hudsmars almost a full villager behind right now, so definitely not the most ideal situation to be in if you are going flat line of play.
But I also don't feel like that is enough of a setback for Hudsmars to feel like he has to be the aggressor here. I feel like
True.
he's confident in his macro play that is better.
And he has pushed all his deer pretty early as well, which is really good to see. The deer actually cooperating.
They did a really good job on that, yeah.
And also, yeah, Weebmaster's also done a really good job on that as well. In terms of this kind of matchup though, what do you think is the ideal army comp that you eventually want to get to?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that to be honest, and I find it really hard to say.
I think it almost always involves BBC, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it doesn't involve Paladin. That's just really clear, because the harp is gonna be too efficient. But then what does happen? It's interesting.
Huds might be forced to actually open the gate for the enemy scout here, and that would actually give him a lot of information.
Oh boy, now we can see the forward stone, but it's already kind of too late.
Weebmaster's not realized, and this has come from the game before. Hudsmars, then like, you know how you did that to me? Well, this time I'm gonna do it to you on Arena.
Oh boy, that is next level Arena plays. So I'm really just kind of torn on how you open this matchup, because hand cannons is just a bit of a no-go, because Teutons have like Bombard Cannon, Siege Onager, and then Siege Onager Harbor is a bit of a logical thing, but then you have like Bombard Cannon to snipe the Siege Onager again. Teutonic Knight is very interesting because they're really efficient against the Harp, but not as good against the Onagers. It's complicated in my opinion.
I feel like it sounds strange, that probably could be laughed out as crazy. But I feel like not so much what's realistic, but what could be an ideal army comp almost could be Teutonic Knight and Onager with BBC behind it.
I mean, in theory, sounds good. It also sounds like it's gonna be like a really intense siege micro war
Yeah.
or something. Anyway.
All scouts PPC. I'm pretty sure you're trolling me there, but it would be quite funny.
Hey, sir.
Teutons have the best freaking scout cavalry in the game.
Well, you're not wrong, technically, unfortunately. Shame it takes them to get that. Shame it takes them that long to get to the best scout cavalry in the game.
Yeah, I find it kind of hard to say. I feel like Halp Siege is the best opening, but then yeah, hand cannon is a thing, but it's also very vulnerable against all the siege that will be outright.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels like a very inefficient way to fight this matchup. I think it's also going to be important in this matchup actually who's going to control the relics, unless someone is going to do like a significantly better boom. That might make a big difference this game.
Hud's actually going up, setting 1 to stone here, so he's either expecting a tower rush, or sorry, a trush or a castle drop, most likely more for a castle drop, or he's going for his own aggression here. I also have seen him, in previous games so far, we've seen him do like 4 or 5 TC plays. So maybe he's also just trying to bank up the stone for extra TC. Unless this is a stone selling FC. He's not on gold currently.
Interesting. Also, both players going up with the barrack. We see a stable coming up for Captain Weebmaster. It would be nice if both players actually do open up with Scout Cav and try and contest the relics, because that is looking very interesting. But we see a market going down for Hoods, Mars, and a blacksmith, so no stable for him, which might be tying into what you were saying about the whole stone thing. But that does feel.
He's going for a speed, so I think this is the plan from Hud Smarts, and I've done this before. You kind of go, you want to go for spears and monks instead. The only thing with spears and monks is the spears can't snipe the monks very easily.
And usually you would say they're at a pretty big risk of getting converted as well. As Teutons, it's not as bad. But I find it kind of weird because I get the whole thing, like how he's going on stone currently is kind of indicating like he's gonna do a big boom, like he's just gonna drop multiple TCs, and that's why he's not on gold yet. But then if he is doing that, why did he opt for the barracks initially?
I'm a little confused by the barracks here, but we do see the spears coming out currently, so I think we are going to see monastery, barracks, 2 TCs first up, and adding a 3rd soon. We'll see how close that prediction is.
Because it's interesting, like I get it, the barracks is for the spearman, but what is the use of the spearman if you are not going to add monks yourself?
That's true, as he's
and if
actually,
you're-
he's actually sold some more res to actually get a little more gold here. Like, it's not very efficient using other resources as gold unless you're Saracens. And even then, it's not really something you want to be doing too much of. We must start adding a
Very
second
interesting, by the way.
stable though.
Exactly, second stable for Weebmaster, which is a bit of an overcommitment in my opinion. I like one stable play, get some scout cav and get a relics in, and then just kind of boom up as your opponent does as well.
I think Weebmaster actually, I don't quite remember this yet, but I think he's actually going to go Knights, and he's going to rely on the extra conversion resistant. Because I have seen it before where the student players, yep, gone to Knights, and they don't convert that quickly. Look.
Decent, but it's still like a double stable knight opening on arena, and the Teuton mirror. Teuton has really good pike size help as well, so you never want to go Cav in this matchup, to be honest.
It'd be different if it was on Arabia, right? Because you can use the mobility of the cavalry to at least kind of do something with it, but on arena, the cavalry mobility is really nerfed.
Exactly.
And we're also not adding a monastery, whereas Hud's Mars has added a monastery. And no extra TCs just yet. Okay, TC going down now. In the 2 golds.
Weebmaster actually dropping a second TC before Hoods Mars in this series? What?
The spears actually were dealing with this wolf who's actually the MVP for Captain Weebmaster currently. We might see
He does
one.
do a nice job.
So the wolf is gonna win. The wolf won.
The extra armor for Toots is just not being enough to fight off the wolves, man.
Wolf was hungry, gotta get his food. I really just don't like the way the HUD's Master's kinda been selling resources here though. I've said it before, but it just feels unnecessary.
Feels a bit odd. I would rather just see him using gold then and then just buying 100 stone once if he wants to do a
Yeah.
50c boom or something. But now he's off stone again and I'm just kind of left confused as to what exactly was the purpose of this all.
We do see a monastery being dropped for Captain Weebmaster now, so we will be doing double Stable Knights and single monk relics here.
He's on 2 TCs as well, and he's doing a decent job keeping it running as he does have a bit of a field lead now.
And Hudsmar's kind of getting away with the spears here. Maybe he was expecting to see the knights like this. Do you commit to getting the +1? Oh, maybe we get a conversion, but these are 2 knights, they are just so conversion resistant. I was just gonna say, do you commit to getting +1 defense at least, maybe for the spears, if you don't want to go for pikes just yet? Or even just going for pikes in general?
I definitely would have committed, to be honest. I mean, in this matchup, you're gonna get all infantry upgrades anyway. Your eco doesn't really mind it. It's like 100 food away from Cast Rage, and it does have quite a bit of value against the knights, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like going for pikes, especially when you've seen, you're not just seen a small number of knights, right? You've seen like quite a few. Like you know your opponent's on at least 1 stable of knights, and it's gonna be quite a toll on their economy.
But that's really interesting about the whole scenario going on, because Hertz Mars is like doing something that should be
conversion.
light from the eco. But the market abuse is hurting his own eco so badly that he's behind in bills and also not really having the same pressure on the map.
Both players securing 1 relic currently, and in terms of the map favoring, it's actually not favoring either player, which is really unusual I find on Arena. Usually slightly favors one player or the other.
That is pretty interesting. Like the extra golds as well, they're slightly more towards Captain Weebmaster, but for the rest, it isn't disastrous imbalanced or anything.
Just about getting that conversion. It was looking like the knight was going to escape there.
Oh, Scout Cav coming in. Is he gonna get the snipe? Doesn't look like it.
It will look like it will go down to 2 relics to 3, but HUD's on 4 TCs. I don't like the position of the one that's going up currently. And Weebmaster on the 3 TCs.
It's a bit of a weird spot, but oh well.
I think if I was going for a 4th TC, I'd almost want to expand it a little bit, like slightly beyond the arena almost.
We'll be really greedy with the amount of knights out for Captain Weebmaster now.
That's true. That's where those pikes could come into play as well. Securing a little more of the map with pikes, especially if your opponent is going to commit so much to knights.
So I just want to say, like from here on, like the fight for the relics has ended. 3 relics for Weebmaster and 2 for Hertz Mars. The villager count is kind of equal. I guess we're gonna see both players booming for a bit more and the action coming back in Imperial Age. But I'm really curious what is gonna happen from here on, because I would hate to see Weebmaster continuing on Cav, because I believe that Cav is very useless in this matchup, especially on Arena.
Yeah. I was saying, I think on Arabia you can kind of justify it. You kind of think to yourself, okay, well, it's harder to convert my knights, and it kind of forces them into pikes, and then I can add my own kind of counter units to it. And you can use the mobility of the knights to be annoying, whereas on Arena, it's just, there's no mobility, there's no value from mobility almost.
Yeah, barely in these scenarios.
Hudsmar's floating quite a bit of wood here though. Whereas Weebmaster's eco looking a little more balanced. But build counts are 10 in favor of Hud's Mars at the moment.
Huts does have more farmers though, so that is pretty decent. But yeah, he is stacking that wood up indeed.
We do see Weebmaster actually getting Boaster a little bit late here, so that also could explain a bit of the wood difference. And adding his own 4th TC.
At least he's not floating wood now.
True, true.
Maybe that's the big difference, who knows.
Hud's Mars now rebalancing his economy, good to see. Adding the mining camp, so he'll be able to get the gold float for Imperial Age. Weebmaster looking a little closer to the Imperial Age though currently.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters too much who's gonna hit Imp here first, because neither player has really committed in a forward castle or anything. Speaking of castles, by the way, Hud's Mars is
20.
very heavy on stone. Yeah. So I'm really curious whether his plan is to go into Elite Teutonic Knights here. And what Weebmaster's plan is, because he has 6 on stone himself, and isn't really making more knights or anything, which I like. I see a forward barrack from him. So one line of play I was thinking about is like, what if you go champs in this matchup, which sounds really silly against Teutonic Knights. But the benefit of champs is they're just quick enough to not constantly get hit by onages like Teutonic Knights would be. But if they are facing off against Teutonic Knights, it's just a disaster piece, right?
Also, it's about the production speed as well, I guess, to an extent.
Like, if your opponent is opening up Halp Siege, which wouldn't be unthinkable in this matchup, then a complete champ opening could maybe be decent. But I find it really hard to say whether that makes any sense, to be honest.
Hud's Mars looking like he'll be able to click up to the Imperial Age right now. 102 villages and handcut coming in. Weebmaster has the res, but he does have the buildings as well, so there we go, clicking up now. Yes, Nubis. I did see that last night.
Castle going down for Hud's Mars inside his base. Hud's Mars is really boxing himself in here, which might be scary in the long run if the fighting happens, but now he goes forward with the barracks.
6 barracks being dropped. I feel like I'm gonna drop this many barracks here. I'm also gonna drop my castle in this area.
Especially with the gold being there as well, right? He kind of wants it. At the same time, like, this is the kind of matchup where a unique unit production can be really important, and like throwing away a castle by being a bit too greedy by it can always be very costly.
And look at these barracks placement from Hud's Mars. They're actually gonna block out his gate, and I don't like that. And he is taking Pikeman at the moment, so it looks like he is going to be opening with Halb Siege. The funny thing with Teutonhalbs is they don't trade normally as badly against champions as other other Civs Halbs do. But in this matchup, obviously the champions having the extra armor as well, it's a bit negated.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't really feel like doing the exact math for how much difference it makes, but I can imagine that champs are still quite a bit more effective. But I'm really curious as to whether Weebmaster is going for pikes or not. I don't see him queuing anything yet.
He's got pikemen though, and the Hughes.
Oh, okay.
But Hud's Master's been adding more eco behind this, whereas Captain Weebmaster's kind of stopped at the 99 villages. I've seen this happen a few times.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a habit of Weebmaster, stopping maybe slightly too early with the build count, especially for something with expensive composition where you want to add like Elite Teutonic Knight, Siege Onager, these kind of things.
And this is one of those matchups where you don't want it to get to a trash war because Teuton trash is not good. Like, their scout cavalry, sure, it's the best scout cavalry in the game, but it takes it to get to Imperial Age for it to be usable.
Yeah, it's
their skirmishers lack bracer. I mean, the Halbs are some of the best in the game, undoubtedly.
But again, not really exceptional in Thresh War, especially in a mirror where the other player really doesn't want to go too many scout cap anyway.
We do see a KP boy coming out though.
I love the KP boys.
I think here would be where it start getting interesting to see if either player wants to go for hand cannoneers. I know, as you were saying, it's very risky going hand cannoneers against a Halb siege composition. But if you micro them decently, a few mixed in could do okay here, I reckon.
Recipe for disaster, to be honest. Like, one knowledge is short and all your hasty are gone. It's really hard to keep microing them consistently. No Elite Teutonic Knight being added yet for its Mars, but he does have Elite Teutonic Knight in queue now, and the second castle up, so that's nice.
And in terms of Weebm, so we've also actually prioritizing the Trebs here. I kind of would have liked to see HUDs prioritizing Trebs a little bit more here first.
Yeah, it would be really nice to... I mean, you do need the right Teutonic Knight numbers, but it's really insane if you do get a castle down from your opponent. Also, there was 6 vills fighting a single Halb and 3 of the villies dying.
And there was 2 mangonels going down in the middle from, I think, 6 Halbs from HUD's Mars. And the production queue for HUD's Mars looking a little bit lackluster right now. I feel like even if you are wanting to go for the Elite Teutonic Knights here, which I do think actually will work pretty well, I'd still like to see some of the units at the moment. Like, even if they are kind of like a few Halbs that are gonna be just meat shields, I don't think you can afford to lose this position.
And otherwise we're gonna have like the problem which we saw last game, right? Your opponent is just gonna have so many units, even if they're not a direct counter. This is gonna be a disaster fighting against so much more military. And again, it's like 60 military against 20 currently.
But Elite Teutonic Knights are so much stronger than their regular Teutonic Knight counterparts. They get an extra 20 HP, they get an extra 5 PS armor, and they get an extra 5 attack. So if HUD's Mars can get the right numbers here, he'll be taking some ridiculous trades.
Oh, BBC coming out immediately for Captain Weebmaster. To be honest, I think I would have... Maybe I would have liked Onager first more, given that they are pretty decent at dealing with Teutonic Knights.
Also worth noting that Crenulations is in the queue for HUD's Mars. It's actually better to get Fletching and Bodkin first, I think. Once you got Fletching though, and Bodkin, they actually outrange BBC with Siege Engineers.
Which continues to be insane to me, but okay.
And look at the Elite Teutonic Knights, they're absolutely wiping the floor with Captain Weebmaster's army currently. He's actually struggling a bit on gold. It's gonna be an absolute cleanup here. BBC actually doing somewhat okay though.
Yeah, they're getting some value.
And the monks?
But like, if you have Halb Onager here, I feel like you can just trade gold effectively against the Teutonic
Oh,
Knights.
look at that! The Teutonic Knights stabbed the BBC. That is so much damage.
Yeah, and Elite Teutonic Knight is definitely paying off here. Maybe Captain Weebmaster is kind of looking at this and like, wait, why are his KP boys doing so much more than mine in this scenario? But as you pointed out, like, Elite is such an insane upgrade for Teutonic Knights.
Like, I don't think there's any, maybe I'm completely off base here, but I don't think there's any upgrade for Elite that changes the unit quite as much as Elite Teutonic Knight. Like, it's, as I was saying, 5 of 2 of the most important stats and 20 extra HP is huge. I think it's also quite expensive
hand
though.
cannons from Weebmaster here, by the way.
Only one archery range is currently queued up. Okay, now more are being queued up. Hudsmar's actually queuing Scorpions here. Don't like the addition of Scorpions here.
No, I feel like there's so many other better options.
Like, literally any other option, right?
Well, let's not talk about Siege Tower here.
I would still prefer Siege Tower.
To drive around with a Teutonic Knights and use your mobility as Teutons on Arena.
Have you? No, but you should have seen it with Hera, honestly. I know it's Hera, so it's a little bit beyond us. But he was using the Siege Tower to micro in front of archers, and he was using the Teutonic Knights to pop out and kill that.
That was a thing of beauty, yeah.
I like Scorpions here. Just They died to BBC. They have the same range as hand cannoneers. Until you get siege engineers, which is lacking in Huds Mars's situation here.
So this is an interesting thing. Sorry for interrupting. By
Oh,
the
no,
way,
of course.
But, like, Weebmaster is not attacking Onager, but just straight BBC, and then adding hand cannoneers. And like a BBC, if you can micro this correctly, it can be really strong. But there's still just a risk of one good Onager or counter BBCs from the opponent.
And the thing is, as well, is like you do have to be constantly watching these hand cannoneers. Like if these two-shot knights get any level of engagement onto them, they will go down in like 2 shots.
Yeah, but like in general against all the siege, and the hand cannoneers are just so expensive to replenish, and they are great at killing these halps over and over again, but these halps are not as expensive in comparison.
Oh, the Scorpion's just dying instantly here though. I feel like Huds Mars' love for Scorpions is actually going to get him killed a little bit here.
Maybe, as Onager is also being tagged for Weebmaster now.
And he's also getting Trebs, which are the only real ways that Teutons have to deal with each other's castles here.
But in general, like Weebmaster, although the unit compositions are slightly different, Weebmaster has way more map control, is on both extra golds, has a 1 relic advantage, so he's in a pretty decent spot, to be honest.
He has underboomed a little bit though, in my opinion, as well, which might come into play if a big fight does happen in kind of mid-Imperial Age. Well, okay, is it mid-Imperial Age yet? Graf, thank you for the raid, man.
Age. And he still doesn't have 82 Tonic Knights, so his KP boys are just not even close to as epic as his enemy's KP boys.
Oh, and look at the onagers. Gonna clean up. Oh, actually, not actually getting as much value as I was expecting.
Ooh.
Didn't you stream earlier, Graf? And look at the onagers, they really are changing this fight. There's still no elite for these Fusion Knights for Captain Weebmaster though. And that's definitely showing in the fight there, but the hand cannoneers are just doing so much work at the moment. Oh, that's cool, Graf.
Weebmaster now has so much hand cannons, but nothing else to really deal with the scopes or to be a meat shield, so this is a
This
really
shouldn't be
risky
working.
position for him. Oh boy, and he is queuing. Beautiful.
Oh,
Teuton
yes.
Scout Cav.
Getting Teuton Scout Cavalry, at least, I mean, I think it's a response to the Scorpions, and at least it's some kind of meat shield here. And Husmars is going to be throwing quite a few KV boys at the moment.
They look a lot less epic when they're charging Scorpions, if I'm honest.
Well, they are kind of melting to the Scorpions, but it's the onagers that are going to be the big problem to deal with here.
Ooh, the BBC gets a snipe, and now the hand cannons are moving a bit too close, and this is why I don't like hand cannons in this matchup.
Oh, look at that huge... Oh, whoa, Jesus wept. That's all his hand cannoneers eaten up, and that's a lot of gold down the drain.
A lot of gold. And now the military count is surprisingly low for both players, if I'm honest.
And Huds Mars really is going to start lacking gold here.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the military lead and a decent unit composition currently to take back the map and maybe control the extra golds, and he should be fine. He also has 8k food in the bank, which he could maybe sell a bit of.
Have a look at the food price. Food price is actually still really good as well.
Oh, wow, that's...
Maybe, okay, I didn't like the Scorpions at first, and maybe I'm being bought a little bit here. But BBC Scorpion, it's quite micro-intensive. Oh, it's gonna be a huge shot. But if you can snipe the onagers before they're able to kill the Scorpions here, and you keep the Scorpions alive and you have the Teutonic Knights in front, maybe that's a unit comp that would actually be really hard for Teutons to deal with in this mirror.
Thinking like, why would you go Scorpion over Onager?
I mean,
Because
Scorpions...
both get contested by Bombard Cannon.
I feel like Scorpions deal better with infantry than Onagers do. Oh, and Onagers popped out! And it didn't do as much damage as I was expecting it to.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see more. Yeah, but
Are we gonna see the Trebs attacking the Scorpions here? Please tell me we're gonna see Trebs attacking the Scorpions.
spoilers, I'm a few seconds ahead of you, and yes.
Yeah, no
they
worries.
do.
I will actually try and speed up a little bit. I'm gonna lag a little bit for a little while. Oh, and the BBC are getting some nice shots on these Trebs as well. And they're gonna get eaten by the Teutonic Knights, and the Scorpions are actually pathing underneath Castle Fire.
The castles are now also just going down rapidly, and map control is just going in favor of Hood's Mars right now. And the golds are still at like reasonable levels where he's still going to get quite a bit of value. We do have to keep in mind like Weebmaster has an additional relic in the bank, but he also still doesn't have. Oh, he does have at least something right now.
He's getting Siege Onager, I think. Did I see that in the queue? I swear I saw Siege Onager in the queue.
I think I just see Knowledge in the queue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Weebmaster kind of in a similar position that Huds was in last game. Gold in the bank, nothing to do with it.
Ooh, and he really is just lacking the production buildings in the back currently. He has an okay eco, he definitely needs more food in. He has 5k wood in the bank. It's really a pick-up position for him from this point on.
And Teutonic Knights are just eating everything. I feel like the elite Teutonic Knight upgrade there coming clutch for Huds Mars.
They really got the value there, yeah.
As I said before, I'm not hating these Scorpions nearly as much as I did at first. Like I don't know, there's just something about the Scorpions here that seem to do it for me.
And now, I mean, there's so much bomber cannons out now for Hood's Mars. Like anything that Weebmaster was trying to throw up production-wise is just gonna go down twice as quickly. I don't think he can get back into this game.
And the Teutonic Knights are saying hello to Captain Weebmaster. This is gonna be game called in probably about 5 minutes. It's the best of 5 minutes is the final match, so I do understand if Weebmaster doesn't want to surrender it too soon, but I don't think there's any way in hell he's coming back from that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Like he needs some major free pickup on all the siege, but there we go.
That's a huge upset as well with Captain Weebmaster being the highest seed as well. And Hudsmar's originally being around seed 20, I believe, so... But well played from both players, honestly. What an amazing set, very close.
Very interesting, yeah. But yeah, that is the last game. Although it was a mirror, it was very interesting in my opinion because it feels like there were few openings possible, and it was really unclear what the players were starting with. But the way it evolved in the end, and how we got to see some epic KP boys fighting, was very lovely to see in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm surprised because Captain Weebmaster was looking really good to win this set in my opinion, based on kind of his usual play style. That kind of aggressive, fast, and I'm gonna say fast and hard, it sounds terrible. But like that kind of aggression, like, oh, not quite Huang, but like in that kind of line of play. Which a lot of kind of people at this ELO I feel struggle at, again, especially in tournaments. But every time that Hudsmars was able to take it to late game, he definitely showed his late game macro.
Yeah, definitely. And it was really interesting to see how powerful Captain Weebmaster's preparation was for Hideout. It was a really convincing win. Yucatan was slightly less convincing, but also more of a late game where we saw Hudsmars doing pretty well overall. And this game, it was also a pretty solid performance, but it feels like Hudsmars is just slightly more comfortable in these really late game scenarios where there's just a bit more macro going on.
And the Scorpions getting value is all I wanted to see. Alright, thank you so much, Solid. It's pretty late here and I want to try and get some sleep, but thank you so much for casting.
Oh yeah,
with me.
you definitely should.
Are you still going to be streaming?
I think I will be streaming for a bit, yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up here and spoiler alert, we'll probably head over to you in a minute.
I'll like very surprised and
Thank you. I expect you to be.
Alright, have a beautiful night, Shadow.
Thank you so much. See you later, Salted.
See ya.